bubbles in the air.
Frankstar.
What's happening, Bazuaku?
It's the third time I've heard that. Our intro in ages. I've not had an headphone in.
It was about time we got the equipment sorted.
I was there or not? Having a little booty on.
Puts you in the right mood for it, mate, doesn't it? Puts you in the right mood for it.
Buzzing. After last night, I'm buzzing.
It wasn't the best, mate, was it? I'm less gutted than most because I just kind of...
Who's got the echo?
It says there's an echo.
Yeah, who is it? Am I coming out twice? I think I am. I can do too. I can hear me too, frankly.
Niche, good.
Niche, good. I might turn headphones off.
Are you on the right microphone setting, yeah?
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah, mate. Yeah. Let me disconnect this earpiece. Sorry, peeps. How's that? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but I'm not sure how much the other people can hear you, mate.
Yeah, I can't hear back.
Oh, someone's just said it's better.
Yeah, but when I turn this speaker off. I can't speak.
Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
It said echoes back again.
Hold on. Hold up. What would you do? Get up on my feet and start stucking inside excuses.
Just turn it into a musical, mate. Little concert for everyone.
Do. What about the Renegade Master? Mate, how much turning two things off? You know what I'm like with technology. I'm about as good as I am as eating salads. Sorry, peeps. Devices. Let me just turn Bluetooth off. Shut your Bluetooth down. Bluetooth off. Good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, mate.
Do. I don't want that. They don't hear me.
I'm repeating.
I'm repeating again. They still getting an echo.
Try whacking that out of there and into there.
Have you all still got an echo?
Right, I can still hear you.
Right, is there an echo still now? Because I'm not getting feedback. I'm only getting me talking, and before I was getting me repeating.
Someone just said the echo's gone.
That's what we wanted to hear.
It's gone.
It's gone with the wind. So's my earpiece. Look, this little thing. This little piggy went to market. Right, we're going to have to go like this, mate, and sort this technical hitch out again. Because I'm very good with technology. It's gone. Right, where was we at? Do you want me to start singing again or not now?
No, and Mrs. Double Baz. Problem with that is, mate, is I don't think it's going to take the phone calls. That's the issue.
Oh, yeah, for me to hear.
Is a problem.
They don't hear me when that happens, do they?
No, I don't think so. I don't know.
Evening all. Hope you're all good. Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think it's going to take me hearing, is it, when I talk, when someone rings. We need a way of losing that echo, Frankster.
We do, mate. We do.
Anyway, we better get on with it.
Start having a chinwag, and I'll start trying to work out a way that this might fix, and then we'll try and bring someone in, and we'll test it.
How many we got in live, Frank? I can't see. You can see it. How many's in?
83.
83. Good evening to you all. At you 83, how many of you was happy with last night? No? Does that include me and you? Because there could be 85 unhappy people there. My take on the game is, I've said before, earlier on today and last night, I thought David Moyes was 100% correct the weekend, and I praised him for it, but I think he was 100% wrong last night. I think the team selection, using senior players rather than the youth people, was a positive move, but not the way it's played. We've witnessed as fans, and this is nothing. Whoa, it's me again. This is nothing against either player, but we've witnessed Mark Noble struggle in the midfield with Declan Rice when it's been that pair. So why it would work alongside Robert Snodgrass, I'd never know. I'll tell you what I do know. I do know 100% there's no injury, no hiccup or anything to Jack Wilshere. And Jack Wilshere didn't even travel and feature, which I find very, very strange. For me, knowing what's happened at full time, that game was a perfect get out of the cup. I think the fact no substitutes were made is another big reason for that. However, on the flip side to that, we did beat Hull 5-1, and I believe I'm right in saying we didn't make a substitute that night either. So it's difficult. I can't work out why David Sullivan goes on TalkSport, tells the world that our reserve team have progressed to the next round, and it's going to cost him 50 grand to travel, and then we send a strong team up there and a bench that, if it's all about fringe players getting minutes, why did we see the bench we see? They're not fringe players, first team players. Why was the bench not full of the players who deserve to be given a chance in that, who won't get a chance in league games? And we know who them players are. I've said it before, and people keep putting Mark Noble. Mate, I'm Mark Noble's, or one of Mark Noble's biggest fans, along with a few other people. But he was out of place last night. The game went past him. I tweeted early on that you could see our problem as a fan of football. No experience, no qualifications in the game. I see after 15, 20 minutes where the problems was, and we was being overrun. I know from what I've seen through months, maybe a year odd, that Anderson on the left wing doesn't work with Cresswell as left back. Again, last night we done it. We exposed two players once again. Today I've seen nothing but abuse to Anderson, who didn't play well. I don't think Yarmolenko, I don't think any of them played well last night, being honest. I don't think Declan Rice played well at the back. Why on earth Declan Rice was put as centre-back is beyond me. You know, the youngsters who played the round before, at least for argument's sake, deserved his chance again last night, unless he's injured. If he's injured, then I'll eat my hat. But I thought that about Jack Wilshere, and I found out today that Jack's had his head down, worked hard, just wasn't selected. You know, it's just, for me, it's not wrong, not right. That defeat has more meaning, in my opinion. There's a reason for that defeat. Everton are a great side, you know, and I won't take nothing away from Everton, but still, we don't get anything up there. I do know that. We won up there a few years ago, or we've won twice up there over the last 4 years, 5 years, whatever it may have been. But the manner of that defeat last night was disgusting. And straight after the game, we read there's a signing today. The president of whatever the team is, whoever the player is, he's signing today. We hear on TalkSport today, Jim White saying that he's spoken to David Sullivan, and the transfer for, again, whatever the fella's name is, for 25 million's gone because of the add-on fees. It's another we tried, and now we're being told Declan Rice won't be sold in this window. The reason for that, in my opinion, is a smokescreen to cover what's not coming into the football club. That's my opinion. that don't make me right. It's just my opinion. And I said this to Jim, and I text Jim today and last night after the game, because he was very quick to text me last Saturday or Sunday when we won. So I sent him a message last night and said, if we want to have it, mate, we've got to be consistent both ways, and you've gone very quiet. Now, that business, again, and I've said it 100 times, it's easy to say we're in for this person, but when it ain't real, we're in for everyone. There's 4 days left of a transfer window for overseas players. I know you can still buy from Championship and lower league and loan up until the 16th, someone told me today. But that's when you're held over a barrel, and you pay over the top for players because it's desperation time. The same as the right back, you know. Would that talk have come out last night if Ryan Fredericks hadn't got injured Sunday? Not for me, not in my opinion. I think the root of all evil at West Ham falls back to two people, and it sums it up when, again, after a defeat today, he's on the radio talking rubbish about the football club. I ain't seen any other chairman come out on the radio to try and defend themselves or their clubs. It's just disgusting. We're run like shit, and it will stay that way. But I will say, you know, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, I was quick to praise David Moyes at the weekend, and nothing would change my opinion on that. He was right. He was totally wrong last night. Do
you think it was David Moyes, mate? Do you think Moyes?
I do.
You do?
Well,
I'm not sure.
If it wasn't him last night, what do you mean by that? Do you think it was above him?
I do think it was above him,
okay,
for sure.
All right, yeah, fair enough. If that's the case, then there's a man who definitely has got no backbone. And that's a man who needs to grow. If that's the case and you can be dictated to that much, you need to grow a backbone.
For me, it was an odd one, mate, because, like, I do think we've got bigger things to worry about right now than that League Cup. Getting there, as much as I would be over the moon, mate, because I'd go to any cup final no matter what the situation is. Getting to a cup final once in your lifetime and not being able to attend would be a tough one to take, mate. That I don't think that is how I'd want it to be. I wouldn't want it to happen that way. I'd want to be able to go and have the whole thing. So I don't know. I weren't devastated last night, but I was gutted. We had something to build on from the weekend. We felt like we'd turned a little bit of a corner, maybe. We had a much better performance, and now we're back to square one again. And for me, if you're going to go out like that and you're going to put in that performance that he did, just play the kids again, mate. Just keep giving them experience. Just let them have a run again. Don't put out Noble and Snodgrass in the middle to go out anyway. That was pointless, mate. An absolute pointless.
But all them players would cost money. They'd all cost appearance fees. That's why I don't believe it happened. So, yes.
And so that ain't Moyes, is it?
That I can understand. However, he's a manager of that football team. He watched, along with his coaches who stood there, what we all watched on the link, you know. And I'll say again, you know, after lockdown, West Ham went out their way to make sure season ticket holders got links to watch the games. I'm not a season ticket holder, so it makes no odds to me. And people still have to pay £10 last night. The club can't even issue our own season ticket holders a free link. They've done everything after lockdown. Why are they not doing it now? Because they don't care.
And that, for me, that team, right, that were putting in performances in the cup. We're trying their best. We had some players who were putting in good performances until last night. And I felt like it was like we had two teams at this point in time. We had the team for the Premier League and we had the cup team. And it felt like that cup team, because I watched them twice, mate, and the two performances were better than the performances that I'd seen before then. Obviously, Wolves was a different kettle, mate. But before then, it was better than I'd seen the first team play. And then we go and make those two silly changes in the middle of the park and really upset everything that those players have been doing. If you're going to set yourself out with a cup team at the beginning, unless you're going to change it to massively strengthen a part of that team to try and then kick on because you're in the quarterfinal or semi-final, keep it as it is, mate. Let them play. To put Noble and Snodgrass in the middle last night was wrong. It was a bad decision. It was bang out of order. And to put Rice at centre half as well, mate, was a very, very strange decision that should never, ever have happened.
Yeah, mate, I completely and utterly agree. You know, you got some people on the other side saying, oh, the fans would have been in uproar if the front four didn't start with Lanzini Haller, Anderson, and Yarmolenko. Mate, that's irrelevant. I know people say it's about Wolves. We had 10 changes from that side at Hull to play Wolves, 10. And the only reason there was 10 was because Issa Diop wasn't able to play. Otherwise, there would have been 11. And Balbrena wouldn't have started the weekend. That attitude is everything that's wrong. Whether it's the manager, whether it's the owner, both are wrong. If you're a manager allowing to be dictated to like that, you're wrong. And you ain't right for the football club. I don't care, mate, personally, if it's behind closed doors. I really don't care if I couldn't get to a final. If I knew at the end of the 2020-21 season, West Ham had lifted a trophy or got to a final, I'd take it now. I don't care that there's no fans. Not at all. We haven't seen nothing at this football club in victory-wise for 41 or 40 years. We haven't seen a cup final since 2006 in a domestic cup. Yes, we've had a playoff final, but I'm talking about a domestic cup. Nothing. And they could have done that this year. We moaned at AFC Wimbledon when we got beaten. Yet last night, man, it don't really matter because we can't have fans going. I don't buy that.
The other thing I didn't get last night, mate, is when a team has a philosophy, a system that you want to play, you play it throughout the whole, whether it be the youth setups, whatever, you play it the whole way through. So if you need someone to step into it, they're used to playing in that formation and used to playing in that shape and that setup. Why did we revert back to a 4 at the back last night?
Because he's fit, mate, he's fit, clueless. He's out of date. But mate, as fun as you laugh, it's true. Like you've just said, we found a formation the weekend and played the best we've played under his management ever in his 2 spells. That formation was everything he should be working on moving forward. So what he could have done last night was found players that could slot in if we get injuries. Instead, I know what I'll do. I'll play 4-4-2 to make everyone get a game. Piss off, mate. Piss off. It's pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Last night, he had the opportunity to see what he had around him. And if there wasn't enough, go back knocking on your owner's door and saying, I need this, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it just don't happen, mate. It's another wrong move, another reason why I say he's outdated. He had it bang on Saturday. I'm not going to knock him for that. They all had it 100% right. But again, mate, whether that's him, if it's not him, he was 100% wrong last night. If that's not him, and he's accepting to allow to just throw it away because his owners have told him at the football club, is even worse. That's even worse for me than they're not even trying. Accepting to be told, don't do it. And you know what? This isn't the first time we've heard this about our owners getting involved either. Not the first time. So it wouldn't surprise me. But if that's the case, mate, that's another little helmet there. And a puppet.
Right, let's try and bring our first caller in, mate, and see if this works. Because we changed the settings, I'm not sure. But
no worries. I just want to say as well, someone commented about, come on, Baz, it's not West Ham about the Carabao. It's Carabao who do the link. Granted, then West Ham should pay for them supporters. Whoever could have gone and bought a ticket to that game last night should have been given a code. Even if it's just away season ticket holders, should have been given a code from West Ham.
Roger, you there, mate?
Yeah, Roger speaking, yeah.
All right, Roger speaking, yeah.
Can you boys hear me?
Can you hear me? He ain't going to hear me. Frankie, talk to him because he can't hear me.
Can you hear Baz?
No.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me, boys?
He can't hear me. Frankster, can you hear him? Talk to him. Frankie, can you hear me?
Yeah, I know, I'm trying. Yeah, I can hear you, mate, but I can't hear him.
Okay, gentlemen, I'm talking now.
Yeah, Rog, we can hear you. Don't worry, mate. But you can't hear me.
We'll get it right one day, mate. We'll get it right one day.
Yeah, people will probably stop ringing in by then. Shall I try and put this on for a minute? How bad's the echo? I've turned the Bluetooth off and everything.
Well, I can actually hear you, Baz.
Can you? No, he can't hear me.
No.
Why did he just say he could? Get him up, Frankie, talk to him, because otherwise people are going to start leaving.
I will send him a link.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, let him know. The people in the chat, and I agree. I've just seen there Shane Cullen wasn't able to play. Barry, I agree with you, but would he have played? You know, as I said earlier on, Wilshere was available. Why didn't he play? Alessi, whatever you want to call him, probably would have been available. Why didn't he play? For me, that team last night should have been the same team that played against Hull. That should have been 100% our side last night. Not worried about making sure Mark Noble played, making sure the rest played. You know, someone said to me about the substitutes didn't come on because they didn't want to risk an injury. Well, let me be assured, I'd rather risk an injury to other players than someone like Declan Rice, Balbuena, whilst we're short, Cresswell, whilst we're short, Haller, because if Antonio gets injured, then we've got no forward. So it's just all, for me, it's all lies. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Killer Hills, of course he's going to say that on TalkSport. You know, on TalkSport, he's lied about too many things. Jim White told us last week we had the £33 million bid in for this player, and today we find out 25 million was rejected, plus because of the add-ons. So I don't believe a lot of it. He's told us Declan Rice won't be sold this transfer window. Let me assure you, if Chelsea knock on our door tomorrow with 50 million or 80 million pound, that boy will soon be gone. He won't be in a West Ham shirt if the right money come along, no matter what they tell us. Full of lies. Full of lies.
Roger's here.
GSB hour. Oh, no.
Can't spell either.
Roger, are you a GSB in?
Listen, boys, let me tell you, I could hear you both, but there was a delay of about 30 seconds.
Oh, you could hear me?
I could hear you, and I could see you doing your flapping your ears and being a bit of a twat, but that's fine.
Not again.
No more than usual. Gents, how you doing?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm tip top. Yeah,
You sound like you're half asleep, Rog. Bored of us already.
No, I'm not at all. No, far from it.
Good.
Last night, where'd you start?
Probably let's start with the team selection. What was your initial thoughts? Forget the setup, forget anything. What was your initial thoughts when you see the team announced?
Yeah, it's a good point. My initial thought was, why the hell are they putting Rice in a back four?
I've just told you, forget the formation. What was your initial thoughts when you see the team?
I'll tell you what I thought, Roger. I saw Declan was in there, and I thought they was actually trying to put in a few more senior players, so they might actually be having a go. And it weren't until you looked at the rest of it, then you realised Rice was in a back four, and then you realised it was all going to shit.
That's kind of where I'm at, really.
Yeah.
The first name I kind of looked for was always Rice, but I didn't even realise he was playing until I looked at the back four, and then I thought, what the fucking hell is he doing in the back four? Excuse the language. I just couldn't see why they would put him in the back four when they've got Ogbonna on a bench who's fit. He's obviously clearly fit because he played in the game before and he'll play again Sunday or Saturday, whenever it is we're playing next. Sunday, you're taking Rice away from a position that he is. Listen, let's make no bones about it. You boys know that I'm one of Rice's biggest fans and I love him to bits. That was his worst game for 2 years that I've seen last night. He was not on it. You know, I think he was at fault for at least one of the goals, possibly two. At least that's an absolute minimum. I think Johnson is out of his depth, but he's a very young man and he will come good. And I'm hoping that I hope I don't have to eat those words. Balbuena, I wouldn't give you 5 weeks for him. I think he's a waste of space. I don't know why he even bothers playing. Who else did we have in the...
That's strong, man. That is...
No, mate. He's wasted. Honestly, no. He's not for me. Listen, this is about opinions. This is
of course.
I'm not saying I'm right or wrong.
No, mate. I'm not saying that. Do you not think he played well Sunday or done well Sunday?
No, not particularly.
Really?
No, not at all. No, I think he relies an awful lot on the people around him, and if they're not performing, I think he relies massively on Ogbonna. Absolutely massively. Fredericks was a big help to him, massive help to him, until he got his injury. Johnson last night, that's where Johnson is failing, because he cannot make those positions. He cannot cover someone else. He's more worried about his own game. This is just my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right. Of course not. You know, we had Johnson, Cresswell. I thought Cresswell did all right last night. I didn't see too much wrong with his game. I thought he was reasonable. I have no idea what Noble was doing, none whatsoever. I don't even know why he was on the pitch. Same as Snodgrass. You know, that they're utility players, and I get it was a cup game and all the rest of it. It absolutely stunk of 2 years ago at Arsenal when we were in the quarter-final, trying to get into the semi-final, and we had Arsenal absolutely. It was rubbish, and we had Joe Hart in goal.
The strangest game that I've ever watched. Yeah, both sides tried desperately to lose. Like, they actually tried to lose.
There was one shot on goal in that game, and it was Welbeck's goal. That was it. Neither team had an attempt at goal. Last night, listen, look at the team, what they played last. Calvert-Lewin, Rodriguez.
Roger, they believe they can win that trophy, mate.
They can.
They believe they can win that trophy. They really do. And they've come out to win that trophy.
10 months ago, was in a worse position than us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Worse position.
But they made a crucial decision where we didn't. And we know what that decision was.
Yeah. And they're building something, mate. They're building something. They've set their sights on. They rolled their dice. They blew all their dough. It all went wrong. They're back to manager who didn't make it work, and they spent hundreds of million. They then went back to the drawing board, and they've done it all over again. There hasn't been any of this. We're going to have a go. Oh, we've showed our hand now. We've played our cards, and now we're going to sit and do nothing and basically never sign a player ever again and just put David Moyes in there, which is what we've done. And they haven't moaned about money being spent in the old manager Silva or any of those players. They've just gone, right, we've got the new man in, and now we're going to back it all over again. And look at where they're going to be. Why we've had to roll the dice and now give up completely and just think that's it, all finished now. I don't really know.
Why can they afford to do it? And why can't we?
Yeah.
Roger, you're right. But that boils down to ambition as well as everything else. And I think we know what we've got. Jamie Lewis has just put in here, remember what Big Sam or Fat Sam done in the cup game against Man City when we got spanked 5-0. I do. I remember what he done in the cup game against Nottingham Forest when we got beaten there as well. This isn't the first time we've heard this. These stories, I remember going to AFC Wimbledon a few years ago when Declan Rice was on our bench and our midfield was Noble and Obiang, and again we knew that midfield didn't work, yet we done it. Last night, playing them two in midfield tells me everything that you need to know about the ambition of this football club, and that's nothing against either of them two men. We've sat and said many times about Halle, put balls in the box, in the air, good deliveries, and you'll get goals. We played a winger who don't tackle, who isn't a left winger, who leaves our left back vulnerable, which we've witnessed for months, not deliver a cross. Yet we played a man who plays crosses centre midfield.
Now, I'm assuming you're talking about Anderson.
I am. And listen, I'm not on his back. I'm not just on his back. And this is what I'm going to say.
How frustrating was Anderson?
But, mate, Roger, I agree with you. I think he was very frustrating. But I think, I personally, my opinion on Anderson is a confidence player. That's my belief.
No, but he got himself into some fantastic positions last night. He played a couple of 1-2s down that left wing, and he went past players and then checked. And then checked himself. And he gave the right back the chance to just close him down. And then the ball's getting pressed backwards, and then they're trying to play it across the other side.
And that's why I say, Rog, I think he's shot on confidence and a confidence player. If what he was doing worked the first time and everything around him was rosy and ticking along, like it did against Hull, I think you see a different player.
I think you've got to say the same about Lanzini.
Mate, I agree. And this is my point again with
he missed a couple of great chances last night, Lanzini. 2 years ago, before his injury, Lanzini 2 years ago, he'd have been putting them away.
It's just, mate, the same goes back, as I say, with my opinion on Balbuena. I thought that man was brilliant the weekend. I thought all 11 the weekend were brilliant. I thought every sub that
Listen,
came on was
I'm being harsh. I'm being harsh on Balbuena because I personally don't think he's a Premier League I don't think he's as good as we think he is. But I am harsh on him because he didn't do particularly badly on Sunday. I just don't think he's as good as we probably think he is. Look, what was I don't get the subs. That was you got Bowen, Socek.
Yeah, but we know, mate. We know why. Rog, we know. Rog, we
I'm
know
not
why.
having it, Baz. I'm not having appearance money. I can't believe.
Forget the appearance money. What do you know from looking the lineup of that team? You knew what their ambition was on that football game, and that's my point. When we watched the Wolves game, every one of us moaned about that lineup. I say everyone, 99.9% moaned. 10 changes, don't believe it. It's only going to be Balbuena because Diop's out. What about Anderson in the week? What about Haller? What about Yarmolenko? Blah, 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 blah. We all moaned, or most of us moaned.
Yeah, okay.
That's what we done. He got it bang on against Wolves, everything. The team selection, the setup, the style, everything was right, everything. Everything last night, from reading that team lineup to that full-time whistle, to his day before training, to getting him all ready in his match preparation was wrong. Completely wrong. If you believe you can enter any game, mate, we wouldn't win a game against a League Two side with Mark Noble and Robert Snodgrass in central midfield. We don't win them with Declan Rice and Mark Noble. Why are we going to with Robert Snodgrass and Mark Noble?
See, in my head, I'm trying to answer you. In my head, I'm saying to you, I think we caught Wolves on a bad night. But I am also let me finish. I'm already arguing in my head that we didn't catch them on a bad night. We just outplayed them.
We didn't let them play. That was a total difference.
We completely nullified them.
Exactly that. And every threat they had.
Look at Adama. You know, every time they put players on him and they stopped him playing.
We're going to use that as an example. I'll give you the bigger one. Look at them through the middle. Souček and Rice. Yeah. Stop them moving the ball. They were superb. We was never going to get that press last night from Snodgrass and Noble together. And that's nothing against them too. But it was never going to happen. And, I mean, you look at Everton's midfield. You know, someone put on here earlier on, at 1-1, and I'll be honest with you, I don't think at 1-1 was fair. I don't think we deserved to be back in the game. In my opinion.
I thought we were lucky to be nil at half time.
Mate, I do. And we all cried out for substitutes at half time, Noble or Snodgrass. Snodgrass comes out and scores and no one says nothing. That shouldn't have been the second half team. And especially when they lost Richarlison, at 1-1 is when we should have gone bang. Now we want this game. Here's our changes. Let's be direct. Let's start controlling the middle of the park. Stop them playing. We never do it. Never in a million years. We've known for 18 months Anderson is not a left winger. And with Cresswell behind him at left back, we are exposed. So what do we do in a cup run or a cup game? We go and play it. It's negative. It's naive. We know it don't work. Why is it going to work this one mysterious night? It's bullshit. And it's bullshit because they do not want success at this club.
Why? I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. You know, look, okay, we were very, very fortunate to get an equaliser, and I completely get that. But 1-1, very lucky. Do you credit Anderson for the assist? No, not really, because there wasn't much else he could do. Laid the ball off. Snodgrass puts one of his trademark balls in. Good goal. Very nice. Lovely. Enjoyed it. In fact, I cheered. I thought it was a great goal. Lovely. They were always going to score a second. As soon as that second goes in, even at 1-1, changes, 0-0, 1-0, changes should have been made. 1-1, you're 90% making changes. 2-1, you have nothing to lose. You have to make changes. Now, you're saying Moyes was in charge of that, and I probably think he was. I do think maybe I cannot believe appearance money would have stopped them making changes. I just can't have that. There's too much money in the game for that to happen. Now, Moyes
not in that cup. There's not. He's already moaned about that. There's no prize money. It cost him 50 grand to get there.
Cost him 50 grand. Well, we'll have a whip round and we'll see what we can do. Oh, you've completely threw me now.
You're saying that you don't think that it could be appearance money that's bought the sub, not bought subs on.
Then, sorry.
What I'm saying,
what I'm saying is that 2-1, you 100%. You have to make changes because you've got no other option. If you've got any intentions of winning that game, that's where you have no choice. But you have to make 3 changes. You have to bring on Souček. You have to put Rice in the middle. You have to put Oggy at the back, and you have to put Bowen in place of Noble or Snodgrass, whichever you want to do. And I'm
not sure I buy it, mate. I'm not sure I buy the substitution thing, because if you're not prepared to bring them on because of appearance fees, then don't put them on the bench in the first place.
That's my point. That's why I'm saying it cannot be appearance fees, because there's no point in them being there.
No, that's right.
8 teams participated in the Carabao Cup last night.
Yeah, I'm only one team. Yeah.
7 teams made 3 substitutes. Another team made none.
Yeah, it's weird. Proper weird,
none.
Mate.
Not one. We didn't make one when we beat Hull 5-1 either.
I'm not worried about losing 3-1, conceding, 3-4. Mate, it didn't matter. We didn't even have a go.
For me, the biggest thing is watching that game and watching it slip away and not being in control of it from the first minute right the way through, and not adapting or even trying to make any changes tells me your manager's no good and hasn't got a clue. And if that one single plan he's got don't work, he's got nothing else, or he's influenced.
But how did he play Wolves off the park then?
And because he's got 2 options, and the other option is this 5-3-2. Or 5-4-1, whatever.
So are you saying that it just so happened to be that on the off chance the system at Wolves worked by more luck than anything, and it might not work in the future? Or do you think he has found something that might actually give us a bit of a turn in
is the $60 million question.
Okay, so my opinion and my answer to that is, and I've said it for ages, you play to your strengths, and our strengths are clearly not Aaron Cresswell at left back and Anderson as a left midfielder. So when you keep doing it and you keep trying it, knowing it don't work, you're making the same mistake. You're exposing the same person time and time again, or people. To play Mark Noble and Robert Snodgrass as your 2 central midfielders in a 4-4-2, before the ball is kicked for kickoff, you know you're going to be chasing. That's nothing against them. It's reality. There's nothing behind them to protect them. There's nothing in front of them that will come and play and join in. You have got trouble before the first whistle is kicked. Big time. So for me, he had it right, 100% right against Wolves. Why? Because he played to our strengths. He didn't play with a left back in Aaron Cresswell, who isn't a left back. He didn't play with Ryan Fredericks as a right back, who gets caught out and gets in trouble. He didn't play with Mark Noble as a holding midfielder. Even after lockdown, when we come back, Mark Noble did not sit in them 2 holding roles in midfield. He played the 10 role. Why do we put him in the holding role? It's nothing against him. It's reality. You have to play to your strengths. And when you weaken your entire team, you get results like you get, and you get performances like you get. He deserves every bit of criticism he gets for this performance. It was dreadful.
Yeah, and I agree with you what you said. However, I don't agree with the Noble bit, because he didn't make 1 tackle, mate. Not a single tackle.
I'm not doubting it.
That's disgusting.
But that's my point. Frankie, that's my point. He isn't a central midfielder. You can't rely on him to be that whole.
Mate, I don't care if you put a goalkeeper in central midfield. You'd expect him to make a tackle.
I
One
agree.
tackle. A goalkeeper will make a tackle. Why Mark Noble hasn't made a single tackle last night, I don't really know. And that Mark Noble not making a tackle in central midfield last night is as bad as David Moyes not making a sub. They're both as bad. Those 2 things are as bad as each other.
The game past him. I tell you the difference for me.
Past him, clearly. He ain't made a tackle.
David Moyes has the opportunity to change that. He could he could bring him off, or whoever it is.
Yeah.
Do you know what? He had a better view last night from where he was in his living room, watching his big screen, than he would have done stood on the touchline. He should have been seeing exactly what we were seeing.
Well, you did, but what Baz was said was right, Roger. At the end of the day, mate, you didn't need to see any of the game to know how it was going to pan out with them two in midfield. Anyway, mate, thank you very much for coming on. Appreciate it.
Cheers, Rog.
Always a
No
pleasure.
worries, mate.
Top man,
Cheers,
buddy.
chaps.
See you later, mate. Chris, what's happening, mate?
Chris?
Can you hear us?
Where's
You all
he
right, mate?
gone?
How you doing?
Chris.
Yeah, good. You?
Mate?
Yeah, can hear you loud and clear, mate.
Yeah.
You all right, Chris?
Yeah, not bad, Baz. Not bad, mate. Just finished
Good
work,
man.
so thought I'd jump on. Have a little chat with you. Pissed off the same as everyone else, mate. You know.
What did you think of last night?
Well, after Sullivan coming out saying it's going to cost him 50 grand, and you know, it's just a fix, isn't it? I think it's a total fix. It's I just can't see how the way the team played from the other day to yesterday. It's just stupid. You know, no substitute.
Do you think his statement about the 50 grand has also gotten into the players' heads, and maybe they thought, well, the chairman don't care, why should we? Do you think that's part of it or not?
Yeah, definitely. You know, the way I see it is the players know it's run like a circus there. They know that they've got the chairman there who's got so much to say all the time, and you know, it's an absolute joke. And the quicker they leave, the better. You know, and from what I'm hearing, David Gold's at leverage with him, and you know, because he keeps opening his mouth. You know, since they've been there, it's been a circus, isn't it? To be fair, you know, it has. They're always coming out, Jack on Twitter all the time, doing the transfers. It's not professional.
No, it's not. And we're getting made look pretty silly at the moment because we're linked with someone every 5 minutes right now for 30 million this and 35 million that, and then they go, oh, it's broken down. I think we've broke down more times than a fucking Ford Escort in the past couple of days. It's a joke. So, you know, why are we even bothering? And why would you leak that sort of information out when you've got no intention of actually signing these players? It's just madness, mate. It's they've got no ambition. They don't really want to sign anyone. They'll be quite happy for that window to close. Their money still be in their bin. And then hopefully they don't get into trouble this season, and you know we don't get relegated. To them, that's a great achievement. To us, you know, I think we'd give anything for a bit of a cup run and not to be looking over our shoulders all season.
Listen, Frank, right? West Ham supporters don't expect. We don't expect to be winning the league, winning the cups. It's about West Ham. That's West Ham for you, right? But we need to see the players on the pitch and the owners giving a bit of ambition there just to go out and actually, you know, play a good game of football, play the West Ham way. And at the moment,
Chris, what is the West Ham way, Chris?
losing.
You're about right there.
We've done that for years, man.
Hey, listen, right? We used to, as you know, Frank, me and you was out all Saturday, weren't we? Right, we was having a good old chat, and you was going on about to me, oh, you know, like all the history and that, and you know, of course I do. I remember watching Peter Butler and Mike Small and getting relegated and things like that. But they had heart and they give it, you know. I remember beating Man United 1-0 and Alex Ferguson going looping, Kenny Brown banged it in, and you know, and he'd go, how did West Ham play like that? You're getting relegated. You know, things like that. That's what made West Ham. Someone said to me, what made you like really, really like love West Ham? Losing in the semi-final of the FA Cup against Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
You know, it was the fans that done it, and it always has been. And it is about
I'll make you right. Sorry, I just want Chris. I'm not cutting you off. Just want to interrupt. Just keep seeing some comments about ex-employee. I don't know if you see yesterday, Dave Walker put a tweet out saying about X. He's been quiet because he's had some bad news within his family. Let's keep the chat and have a bit of respect for him at the minute. That's all I'm going to say. It's not my place to say no more. But X has been quiet for personal reasons, not for any other reason. And my well wishes with that man.
Yeah.
Well said, mate. Well said. So, yeah, Chris, I don't know, mate. I'm with you. You know, West Ham was never about winning anything. It was never about, you know, we done on the pitch. To be fair, we're always used to losing on the pitch. We're all used to that. It was just we had, like you said, we had heart all the way through the club, from, you know, the players to the fans. We always gave it everything, and we was always 100%ers. Do you know what I mean? From the fans and the players that we used to have on the pitch. And of recent times, it ain't been like that. It's been we've got too many journeymen round us, people who don't. But I think a lot of that is because they tore up the West Ham history that we had, chucked it in the bin, moved us across to this new stadium, and all of that history that we had's been forgotten. It's completely disappeared.
Like we said, Frank, right, we're all to blame. None of us stood up. We all got sold to the team. Yeah, we all thought we want to move on, Champions League and that, and actually move on. We ain't no better. We ain't no further forward. Right? If anything, we're a lot behind. You know, we was looking at teams like Wolves, for instance. Yeah, what, you know, I'll swap tomorrow with them.
Yeah,
because they're doing what's right. They've got their own stadium, their proper stadium, not a pop rented Soldiers Bowl or what that is. You know, it is, and that is what it is. I walked out there. I had one season in there, and I just can't stand it. It's just not West Ham for me. And please God, new owners come in, they knock it down, or they build us a new stadium. Please, that is all I want. You know.
Yeah.
I reckon most West Ham supporters do that. I know there are a lot of West Ham supporters that do like the stadium. You know, but
Chris, do you think with just new owners and that stadium it'd be different? I do. I don't think it'd be as bad down there and toxic as it is now if they had gone. I think that stadium would be forgotten. I think it is what it is with that ground. Upton Park's never coming back, as we know. But
we know that. We've had many discussions.
I do think if new owners were in that football club, and pretty good owners, to be decent owners,
still not enough for me. We need that new ground. That new ground's terrible, mate. Yeah, it ain't football, is it?
No, mate, I'm not saying it is, and I don't think it's perfect, and it does need amending. But I just think, my personal belief, if there was new owners in there tomorrow, there'd be a different feel straight away to West Ham. Straight away. And that London stadium wouldn't be as big a burden on our backs as it is now. The fact they took us there, I think, is what's making it a lot worse. But I do believe, and I stand this, we need a better football ground than we've got. 100% believe that. Maybe the right people could do that. I just think without Gold, Sullivan and Brady attached to it, a little bit of every luggage on your back would be lifted.
Would that be enough for you to come back, Chris? If we had new owners tomorrow, would you come back, or would the ground still put you off?
I would come back once them three have gone, right? Because at the end of the day, right, West Ham's my club. I bleed claret and blue, like the rest of us. We all know what's proper. But I'll tell you one thing, Frank. Me and you had this discussion on Saturday, right? We both said if West Ham get relegated, right, all them supporters that are there, that should be there, right, will go.
Yeah.
Right. That is what I can't stand. I can't stand the people in there that don't know the history. Right. I'm all for new supporters coming in and new, like the kids coming up, but they've got to come up the same way as what we did, through our fathers and through grandparents and knowing the history. You know a little bit more from Saturday from me.
No, I agree with you, mate. I agree with you. It's not that fair weather supporter who goes over there because it's a cheap Premier League ticket just to watch football. You want proper West Ham in there. You want people that are passionate and love the club and will die for the club. And that's what we're all like. And, you know, there is too many people in there now that goes over there because it's a place they can get ticket to watch Premier League football in London. That's it.
Like the first season there, sorry, Frank, I'll cut you off there. The first season in there, I knew someone that was Arsenal supporters that bought a season ticket just for the one game, just so they could go to that one game at that stadium. You know, you're walking in there, people are sitting there with laptops on their laps, eating popcorn, wearing Man United shirts in the home end.
Yeah, it's mad.
Shouldn't happen.
It would never have happened, you know.
No.
But
yeah, mate, Chris, it wasn't just fans. Let's not forget stewards. Stewards wearing opposition clothes in our ends.
Yeah,
and that's even teams that ain't playing. I think there was like I don't know who it was, but if we were playing Man United or someone, there was someone in a Chelsea coat working for them. Man, that's just disgusting.
A lot of problems there in that first season. A good friend of mine, Jack. You know Jack Levine. He had a real problem with his daughter, with the stewards doing stuff. You know, he just turned my nose up really bad. You know, and the other thing is you've got to walk through the shopping centre. It's just such a long walk all the time, isn't it? You know,
and it don't even feel like football. Even when we had a long walk, you'd walk down from Plaistow Station down to Upton Park. It felt like you was at a football ground. You come out of there and you got everyone having their bit of dinner or their bit of lunch and all that, and it just don't feel like you're going to football, does it?
You know, you used to walk out of the station and that buzz, you know,
Was there.
Yeah, it was there, and you get the tingle like in your. I don't get that no more. I don't even get that when West Ham are playing at the moment. I said to you on Saturday when we was chatting, didn't even know West Ham. I thought West Ham were playing on Saturday. That's how bad it is. Like, didn't even know that they were playing on Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm not that going into it as much now, and it hurts. It breaks my heart really because you know I should be taking my kids now, my boys. But I'm not. I ain't even took my son to that stadium. He went to all the last games at Upton Park. But I ain't took him now.
I don't think you want to.
Chris, thanks for giving us a call in, mate. It's absolute pleasure, mate.
Stay safe, buddy.
Thank you. And you, brother.
Nice, thank you.
Top man, mate.
Take care. Mate, Gary's just made a great point there with West Ham. Look, Frank Lampard Jr. was put on outside the ground in the murals instead of his old man. That's another great point, mate. And they're everything that's wrong with West Ham. And that's my point. It's them little touches from above.
And that's what you've just said. It's the media team that we've got in place there, mate. They're clearly not West Ham fans. They are not West Ham. They don't get us. They don't get us one little bit. It would help a little bit if the stuff that was communicated from the club actually had anything to do with us as fans, and it don't. It's not just the ball, mate. It's the whole way through. We've got too many even down to, and I don't get this, mate. When you call the ticket office, what version of Bubbles is that, mate? Because it is the moodiest version of Bubbles I've ever heard in my life. What is it? But that's because we outsource our ticketing to Ticketmaster and we don't do it ourselves. We touch nothing ourselves as a club, mate. Right through there, we have just got so many people. I watched the Tottenham documentary. Everyone in that club, mate, is a Tottenham fan. They love Tottenham to bits. Whether, you know, the people in the call centre, the people doing the accounts, the people, don't matter what it is, they're all Tottenham. I'm not saying you can only employ West Ham fans in football. I'm not saying that. You couldn't do that. But what I'm saying is the core of it are people who love and have a massive affinity with the club. We don't have that. We've got a load of random graduates who just put out rubbish that it's just nothing to do with West Ham. And it's no good, mate. And that, at the moment, I keep watching them football documentaries. I watched the one on Leeds. Mate, Leeds' plan that they've got in place is why they are doing everything they're doing right now. From the moment that new manager walked in, the Italian guy, he sat down, he said, I don't just want the best for the team, which I do, so I'm going to go and get a director of football that we believe will move this club forward and sign the players to get us back to the Premier League. But I also want a director of fans who gets the fans, who listens to what fans want, and we are going to do everything we can to make this club feel special and it's like it's their club again. That's the attitude. We don't have that.
Mate, ain't they got an old West Ham employee there as well?
Well, they do, mate. They do.
They've got one at the top who helps do everything right like that.
He left us, a Premier League football club, to go to Leeds because he said Leeds have more ambition and a better setup than we do. He said, I couldn't turn it down. And that's when Leeds was in the Championship. He ran away from West Ham to go there.
There you go.
Which I think says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah, mate, I think you're totally right. Nothing surprises me. The problem is now, and I think it's the same for us all, nothing surprises us now. And this was my conversation earlier with Jim White, Angus Kinnear.
Just Kent to know.
He knew, didn't he? I won't going to mention names, but he knew straight away. It's what I said to Jim White earlier. Jim, it's all the case, mate. We've learnt these silly stories now, these smoke screens. It's all we tried. And all this with Declan Rice. You know, X, Y, Z about he ain't leaving, blah, blah, blah. If the right offer's there, he'll leave. That's a fact. And if I'm honest with you, If Chelsea knocked on our door tomorrow and said, there's £100 million, you'd be wrong to say no. So don't tell me he ain't leaving for any fee in this window. That's bullshit. It's another lie. Because
I think they know they ain't going to pay the dough that we want. And
I think that's reality.
That is the reality. They don't want to part. They've spent too much money elsewhere. They're not going to part with the rest of the dough, and that's the reason why he's still going to be a West Ham player. But I think we both went from 50-50 to highly likely Declan's going to be out the door to I think we both know he'll still be here at least until the next window now.
He's not. I still ain't convinced. I really
He'll be here. He'll be here. He will, mate.
And the reason I'm not convinced is because I do not trust the thing they do. I don't trust it. And that's the worst thing.
We got Michael in, mate. He's out in Spain. So how are you doing, Michael, mate?
I'm good. Bit rushed off my feet, but otherwise okay.
What are you eating?
No.
The remainder of
last night's
tuna mayo. No, it's
the remainder. When's it from?
I cooked it earlier on. I'm a pretty good cook, actually.
Oh, all right, okay.
You're in Spain. You let me down.
My wife works nights, and so she said to me today. She always just says, "Make me whatever I want." Basically, make her what she wants for dinner. She said, "I want tuna, sweet corn, and mayonnaise, and a jacket potato for dinner." And so I said, "All right, then. That sounds pretty easy. You just put potatoes in an oven and make." That's pretty easy, and I still think I got dinner ready a quarter of an hour late, which is the earliest it's been in about a month. I'm really, really dreadful at timekeeping.
Did you get to watch any of that last night, mate?
I watched all bar the first 10 minutes, and I don't think that would have made much of a difference, would it?
Nah, not.
Was you cooking dinner in the next 10 minutes as well?
So again, I wasn't cooking dinner the last 10 minutes. No. I was sorting something else out. I can't even remember. My thing is my mother-in-law and my wife both work like night shifts, and so I have to try and help them out because it's a balls up otherwise. Sometimes I have to start early or late, so I just try and make sure they get out the door on time. But the thing is that I actually last week I was the one who actually took a bit of umbrage with you, Baz, if you remember, because I was the one I didn't like you kept on calling David Moyes a dinosaur, and if I could have spoken to you last week, I would have looked like an absolute genius. Because I was going to say to you that while we had a really good result against Wolves, but we've got to be kind of careful because going forward we might have a bit of a letdown in the near future. But now I look like an idiot who's like wise after the event because like this was probably coming, wasn't it? And this substitution thing. I'm actually convinced that he didn't make any substitutions last night to send a message to the board that we need more players. And that still, I feel that's no excuse. I can't believe you just, it just feels like a kick in the nuts. Sometimes I feel like David Moyes does actually kind of understand a bit what's going on. And then other times it feels like he couldn't be more detached. And I defend him a lot, and I don't want to.
Let's be right here regarding the subs as well, in fairness, because it's a great point you made. We didn't make a substitute when we beat Wolves. Not Wolves. Hull 5-1. It took for us to go 2-1 down against Arsenal when we had them on the back ropes, like on their back foot against the ropes to make a change. No, is he that clever? And this is why. See, that's when you see the pictures come up with the head superimposed or something. That's him. He knows how to use a computer, not me. That's Frankie with a dinosaur. I agree. He is. He's outdated for me. Because he's
on the other side of that.
He's slow, mate. All right, let me ask you. Let me ask you this. I cannot fault him for Saturday. I can't, or Sunday against Wolves. I can't. However, I'll ask the question. If that didn't work, and we went, I know it did, so it's all hindsight. If it didn't, and we went 1-0 down early, do you have faith in him to be able to change it? Because I don't. Because I don't see him changing it when we're chasing the game at level or even on top of a game level. I don't see he has enough about him through experience of seeing when he makes his changes to be able to change a game in play when needed to. That's my fear. That's why I call him out today.
I don't disagree with you at all. I think he's a very good manager up until kickoff. I think if you look at kind of how we're setting up, it's the most bizarre formation I've seen at West Ham, and I think I would say I've been a sport since 1990. Actually, it's always been the family club. My old man was Chelsea. I should have followed him to supporting Chelsea. It would have been much easier.
You shouldn't.
For my life.
Never.
It'd been much easier for my life, though, wouldn't it? It would have been much easier for my life. But I followed the other side of the family, and I went on this roller coaster, which is much more exciting. Let's be honest. I went to Chelsea, it was boring. Went to West Ham, and it just like the excitement in the ground. It was something very different because I could have chosen any. I'm from South East London originally, and so I could have chosen any team. I could have chosen Charlton, any team. And West Ham, it was just something very different. But 1990, it was when I very first started watching it, and this is the most weird tactics I've ever seen. He's kind of playing an inside forward and then out and like a winger with a centre forward that's moving around all the time, and he's good up to kickoff. But once kickoff goes, it's just.
There's the confidence for me.
This is
you're right. I don't disagree with you. I think if you look at how we're fitter than we've been in years, I think the team is fitter than it's been in a long time since Allardyce was manager, in my opinion. I think if you look at kind of the organisation of the team, the way it starts out, I think the team looks organised, more organised than it's looked probably since the early days of PIWH, maybe even before that, maybe since Allardyce. But I think that when the game starts to unfold, if it doesn't unfold, then you're right. I can't argue with that. But I think tactically he's getting it right at the start of the game, but it's just fallen apart. And I think if it's an ego thing, if it's a thing where he's trying to let, Sullivan know, well, I can't change it. We've got anything to change it. That's shit, number one. And number two, if it's a thing where he can't change it because he doesn't know how to change it, then he needs to check his ego at the door and say, well, it's him, there's Pierce, there's Nevin, and there's Alan Irvine. Well, who freaking doesn't know how to change it?
And Nolan,
sorry. You've got like 5 coaches at him and 4 other coaches at the club. There's 5 of them. Add one more, and you can't actually let anyone else into the room due to COVID restrictions.
This is it.
Who is the guy who can actually pick the subs? Because if it's an ego thing, he needs to check his ego at the door. But if it's a political thing, I feel like understand us a little bit better. You're hurting all of us. You're actually hurting us by doing that. And I don't disagree with you. That's why I said last week I would have said, oh, Baz, this, that, and the other. But this week I'm kind of. That really hurt yesterday because that wasn't a 4-1 game. I thought we had enough chances in that game for it to be a lot closer than it was. And Calvert-Lewin, I can't think of a player who's developed at West Ham like that. Because they had Calvert-Lewin, got him from, I can't even remember what it was, someone like Barnsley maybe, or a lower division side.
What do you mean developed? Like as in got him to a Premier League standard?
They signed Calvert-Lewin. They were putting him up front. He was like their 5th choice centre forward. He didn't even look any good. You'd watch Everton play and they're like, what are they doing messing around with this guy? He's a grafter, but nothing more. And now you ask me, that looks like a Premier League striker to me.
Have you seen what? And this is my point. This is why I think Moyes is a dinosaur. One, because of what you've just said with regards to how many coaches we need at the football club to try and get it right. We must be the only club who's ever had 5 first-team coaches. I mean, that's unbelievable. 5 first-team coaches. There's a lot of, not the rest of the coaching staff, but 5 people who you see up front next to the management quota, all trying to have a say. And what's the old saying of too many cooks spoil the old broth? And that's, for me, for some reason, I do think Wolves wasn't just David Moyes. I think Stuart Pearce had that plan for Adama Traore. I think he come up with that plan of how to deal with him. And he was the one who's drilling Masuaku on how to play as a fullback, or a wing back, which is working well. I think Nevin is a really good coach to have around with his experience. I think Nolan's got that bit of attitude and that understanding of West Ham United, which is good. But you're having to add things into Moyes because he's lacking so much ability. And then I look at what happened with Calvert-Lewin. He come on TV the other day and he said, Ancelotti grabbed hold of me and he told me how to play as a striker. He kept saying, you have to score with your first touch. Stop trying to take too many touches. And he I can't remember the person who it was, but he named a legendary striker who scored something like X amount of goals, and about half of them, 50% of them, was with the first touch of the ball. And that's what he's saying. He's saying, when you get in front of goal, first touch, don't mess around with it. Take it on straight away. When was the last time we had people who had the confidence in front of goal to try and hit it first time and score goals? And it is Ancelotti who's grabbed hold of him and is making him the player he is now. I watched the Leeds documentary. Bielsa, when he went into that team, the players were in awe. that you see the players going, I can't believe we're lucky enough that we're going to work with one of the best coaches in world football. And they felt he has them. And you're right, David Moyes has gotten fitter than we've been in a long while. And I will say that. And he's always saying, if you don't run, you don't play. That's always been the Moyes motto. So that's fair enough. And he is picking the players that run over the likes of Haller and Antonio. So he's sticking to his guns there. But Bielsa hasn't weighing in. And if you're not making weight, you won't play at the weekend. It is a very strict, well thought out plan that he is implementing at Leeds. And I just don't see that where we are. I just think there's all these people who are having to have a little bit of a say here, a little bit of a say there. And for me, I want to see one man, a leader, standing up at the front of that team and commanding what his plan is. I don't want to see Nevin's got a bit of an idea here, Moyes has got a bit of an idea here, Nolan's got a bit of an idea, Irvin's got a bit of an idea. To me, yes, it worked against Wolves. Yes, they all put a plan together and it came off. Is it going to work out long term? I hope so, but I'm not sure, mate. I'm not sure.
I'm less convinced than I was. The thing is he has his main success stories on Arnautovic, really, and I think possibly with me, I'll hold my hand up. You know, I'm not one of these people who just says I've made my mind up and that's it. I tried my hardest in life to not be like that because, you know, I think those people are complete bellends. But, you know, sorry. I hate those people that say, I'm right. I've been right all these years. I'm sorry. I can't stand it.
No,
you know, like I try and and that's why I like you two guys, because I don't think you are like that. But, you know,
we're always right. You lot are wrong.
But like it's difficult because like it's so inconsistent, and like the thing is with Moyes, like the transfers thing, it seemed like he came up with a bunch of transfer ideas. Our chairman was like, "Oh, brilliant idea, Dave. Yeah, we can't afford any of them," and so he has to go away and come up with the same sort of ideas, but instead with a load of foreign players instead of domestic players. And now like we couldn't afford any of them, so we now seem to be on the third shortlist of players, and it's like. And the nicest thing I can say about guys, because, you know, there was one of them, I was like, oh, I know that guy because he played in the Europa League against Sevilla. The guy was at Shakhtar Donetsk. Oh, yeah, I recognise his name because he was in the Europa League semi-final, I think. Oh, yeah, and that was a few weeks ago. And there was another guy, the nicest thing I could say about him was he's a gold card on FIFA 21. And I didn't know anything about him, you know, and I'm not completely... I'm not like a complete noob, I'm not a complete idiot when it comes to knowing footballers, but it's just... I'm not saying it's all Moyes, it's just the whole thing's a mess. And the whole thing's been a mess for years. You know, like when people look, if people accuse you of being like emotive or emotional or like a lot of people, like you get this a lot and you've had this, Baz, when people try and make it out like you're some sort of like, you know, emotionally unstable person because you're, you know, because you want rid of this ball and you want rid of not you, but I'm saying like people say that, you know, like what do this? The classic thing that you say that people will say to you is, what do West Ham fans want? Well, West Ham fans want to see a steadily, obviously a club that you can actually decipher. You can see a transfer policy. You can actually decipher what the transfer policy is. Not, holy shit, we were trying to sign a slow stopper last week. Then we're trying to sign a young ball-winning centre-half. Now we're trying to sign a Serbian centre-back who is a great stopper, but is really, really slow and can't pass water. And then we're trying to sign another young centre-back who was more like the original bloke. It's just like literally they're throwing darts at a board. It's just there's no sense to it. And a few years ago, I literally sat down and thought, this is how I want to see a club run. Like my career, which has evaporated due to, you know, I think everybody's has, right? You know, with all this COVID stuff. And I used to do IT business analysis, and there's a concept of a target operating model. How do you want this thing to actually work? And how I wanted this thing to work and how they run things. They're never going to get to that because David Sullivan's such a control freak. You're never going to get to that point, are you? Because he wants to have control over everything. And he can't run a transfer policy. David Moyes might be able to because he ran a transfer policy at Everton. But that was 7-8 years ago. Can he run it now? And, I'm at a point where this was 4 years ago. I decided I'm done. And it's not because I'm emotional. It's just logic. The logic dictates that these people can't run the football club. And that we were actually doing all right 4 years ago. That was 2016. We were just moving into the Olympic Stadium. We just had Dimitri Payet.
Here's a big thing that I haven't said before. I'm going to say it now. That I actually think David Moyes does know what is needed at that football club. And I do think he wants what's needed at that football club. However, I think he is so petrified of losing the only job he's had in world football in the last 3 years that he don't want to rock the boat too much. And I do genuinely feel that he knows what the positions we need. I think he knows the players he wants. I think he does sort of go in there and half say it, but he don't want to push it too far because he wants that job. And I do, madly as crazy it is to say, I do think he really loves working at West Ham. And I do think he wants the best for West Ham. I really do.
Frankie,
I agree.
I just think he don't want to rock the boat too much, and he's happy to be this yes man because he's happy to take his payday and just be in a job that is a high profile job in the Premier League. That's it.
Right, and that's why he's happy at West Ham, because of them reasons. And you know what? We have fans week in, week out tell us how bad Mark Noble is. I'm not going to defend Mark Noble's performance last night. I don't think it was very good, but we hear every week he's made a career at West Ham, which he ain't no good. Should never have been there. X, Y, Z. But David Moyes is still allowed to be there, and that it's not David Moyes' fault. It's the owner's fault. Now, how comes Mark Noble stole the career, but David Moyes can stay there? And it's the owner's
Mark Noble didn't steal a career, though, did he? Let's be honest.
Mate,
Mark
I
Noble.
don't think that. I don't think that at all. I'm saying other people. And listen, we're all entitled to have our opinion. Do I think Mark Noble could have played for a top 4 club? No, I don't. Do I think Mark Noble was too good for West Ham? No, I don't. Do I think Mark Noble is a West Ham player at our best? Yes, I do. Do I think he starts 38 games a season now? No, I don't. But I do think he starts against teams like Fulham. 100% I do. And that's why me and Frankie had a bet last night. And Frankie said to me, we will not win another league game that he starts in. I don't believe that.
I believe it.
Mate, okay, that's what I'm saying. My opinion, I don't think we won't.
I think it upsets the balance. It upsets the balance of that new formation way too much. With that new formation, if you want to play with those wing backs, you will be overrun in midfield if you haven't got someone who
He
makes.
doesn't play midfield.
Well, he won't play in the number 10 in that formation.
He did at Norwich when Antonio.
No. This time round, he will not play the number 10 in that formation. No way. Absolutely no way.
For sure. And I think that's why when we all said the other week, how comes we see Mark Noble be brought on as a sub and not, I can't remember, it might have been Josh Cullen. There's a reason why. Because like you just said, it's easy for David Moyes. And it wouldn't surprise me if he has to play him at times. And that's why he will play that role. Do I think Mark Noble's a number 10? No, I don't. I don't think Felipe Anderson's a left winger, but he plays there. I don't think Cresswell's a left back, but we see it again last night. And I don't think he's a left back with what plays in front of him. But it's all too easy for David Moyes managing West Ham because he doesn't have that bollocks to go to his owners above him and say, I need this. If I don't get this, I'm fucking off and getting a better job. Because there is no job for him. He was out of work for 4 years and got offered 2 jobs at the same fucking place. That tells you everything.
And it's still a shit show at that place.
It is.
I was going to say that the whole thing is like with regards to Noble, like nobody can say he's stolen a career. There was a point where, like back when PIWH was manager, so last year at the Berlin, where he looked like he was a man out of his time. For years he was our number 1 central midfielder. After Parker left, especially, he was our number 1 central midfielder, and we needed players who could play at his level. And then we signed Kiyata, and I think we signed Obiang, and we signed Payet and Lanzini, and then suddenly the level looked. Who else?
Alex Song.
Yeah, and it looked like the level had gone up on him. But by the end of that season, I felt like he'd actually kind of got accustomed to that level. But the thing is I subscribe to a theory of 10 years at the top. And we've got to remember how young Mark Noble was when he started. You know, he was playing in our relegation of the team, but the Tevez team that nearly got relegated, that was Kerbishley, wasn't it?
We had the song, didn't we? He's only 17, he's better than Roy Keane. He was playing for us at 17 years of age.
He didn't even play in our FA Cup final. Didn't start our FA Cup final against Liverpool.
It was the season after when he really got into the team, wasn't it? So it was 2007. So he's at year 13. I mean, so realistically, he might be 33, 34 in age, but realistically, in footballer years, he's more like 37. Because it's not like when he's had significant injuries, he's always back in the team as soon as he's fit. And I know there are going to be some people of other clubs who say, when I say training at the top, West Ham not a top club, but training for Premier League games, preparing yourself for Premier League games, playing Premier League games at that pace, and he's always been there. And he could have gone to probably a better club than us, but the problem was that Well, you're going to go and offer someone a club. You know he's not going to leave. He's a West Ham fan. He's settled. His family. I mean, we didn't go in for Joe Allen last year because we knew we were not going to get him out of Stoke because he's not going to leave the Northwest. How many times have we had players like that? Tarkovsky this year. Well, there's no point in going after a player if he's not going to move to London. So what do you expect? What does anyone expect? The problem is the club's a shambles. It's been like a shambles for 10 years. We got relegated in the first full season of these people at a club, and because they wouldn't put another 3.5, 4 million club. Who was the guy they wouldn't sign? What was the name? Buzz, you've got memory. You've probably got better memory than me. Huh? No, there was a guy, he played for Portsmouth. I think it was Mark Wilson. He was a central midfielder. Went to Stoke, and Avram Grant wanted him to play in central midfield, and he was like 6'2" defensive midfielder, and he went to Stoke under Tony Pulis, and they wanted about 3.5 million. There were 3.5 million for him, and Avram Grant wanted to stick him in the centre of midfield because at that time a lot of teams were pinging long balls, and he was going to anchor the midfield. We had like guys who were centre midfielders playing out of position. It's a similar sort of thing now. They needed 2 guys to cover that midfield, and we had to do it with 3, and we were constantly getting pressure that season. And this is them in a nutshell. These owners in a nutshell. They'll get a manager. I'll leave you on this because I don't want to take up all your time, and I need to finish my tuna salad. And I've got to take my dog for a walk as well. So you got
take your mask with you.
Yeah, take my mask with me. We're going to get locked down tomorrow as well here in Madrid.
Oh, yeah?
So,
Man.
Yeah, let's not start again. I was hoping to get a haircut.
What's worse, lockdown or Gold, Sullivan and Brady? We'll leave it on this note. Just give us 6 little letters that we'd all love to hear. Just finish with it and we'll cut you straight off. But I really appreciate your call. I hope you come on more often. 6 little letters, 3 letters and 1 word that's got 3 letters.
What's worse? Lockdown lasted 3 months. Gold, Sullivan and Brady's lasted over 10 years. So what's worse?
What's your message?
GSB out. GSB out.
See you later, mate.
Later. Bye-bye.
What's up, man, mate?
Thank you. Love that. Mate, that's me all over. Get him on every week.
You like him, do you, mate? He had to go, didn't he? We've got another serious GSB out advocate who is supposed to have been on a couple of times recently, and I forgot to bring him into the show, so he needs to be given a fair crack at the whip tonight, and be given
not me.
He should pick on me tonight. Andy, how are you, mate?
Hello, mate. Baz, Frankie, how you doing?
Oh, mate, I recognise you now. You're Andy who's got about 7,000 hashtag GSB out on every tweet, isn't you?
That's the one.
Yeah, did you think I like them?
Now, yeah. Everyone else does one, and there's you, the screen from. What are you doing? Sitting on the floor?
No, here we go. No. I'm leaning back on the chair.
It was a little bit low down there, Sam.
Oh, here we go. That's better. Anyway, last night, as you saw, I think Paz liked a few of my tweets last night as well. 3 happy days, and then it's back to normal, back in the office. And to be honest, like you said, Noble's been a great servant for the club, and I think he's getting a lot of the stick, like what we were saying. He didn't do many tackles or anything, but no one put shift in last night, and it just seems the typical suspects who they target.
I think that's often. I think that's quite often the case, mate. And I've said it before. I think Anderson, Noble, Cresswell. That I think they're 3 of the players that do get a lot of it. I've got to be honest with you. I've seen a lot of people call for Yarmolenko to be starting matches, and that he's our most talented footballer. I've said for a long time. In my opinion, I think he's an impact player. What did he do last night? If David Moyes plays people on running, that man shouldn't even get on the bench. Shouldn't be in the squad. In my opinion.
Yeah. No, the thing is, though, like you said, obviously Fredericks is out, so likelihood is Ben Johnson's going to play on Sunday. What confidence is that going to do from the lad? Having Yarmolenko not help him track back yesterday when Bowen does it. Do you see? I know it's a different team. The
difference will be, Andy, on Sunday, it will be that formation 3-5-1 again. It will be, or 3-2, 3-4-2-1, wherever you want to call it. That will be the formation again. And Johnson will have in front of him Bowen, as he did when he come on the weekend, and he'll know he'll get backed up. And this is a difference again. Cresswell will start at the back of that 3, knowing he'll get backed up from Masuaku, and his inside midfielder, whether it's Rice or Sergio. That's the difference. Last night, if you're Declan Rice and Balbuena and Johnson and Cresswell, if that's you, and this isn't personal to Noble or Snodgrass, you look in front of you, you know that everything's getting through them, and you've got to defend in front of you and behind you. You're getting caught. You're in two minds the whole time. That's why it's so wrong. If you play them two, mate, you've got to play five at the back and have someone who sits and clears up behind them, because they're not going to do enough. Yeah. So I think, if I'm honest, I think Ben Johnson will do okay Saturday. I do, or Sunday. I do think that.
Yeah, no, I think, like you said, you should have went like for like of the same formation. If you prove that's worked against Wolves, like you said, on hindsight, I was talking to the old man when I was watching the game. Obviously, Everton picked up 3 injuries yesterday, so you can flip it around the other way and saying if we played a different team, like through first. Imagine if the injury to Allen happened to Rice or Souček, we'd be sitting here now saying Moyes shouldn't have played him. So I can see both sides of it, but like I said, it's because of the money and everything why we're not in the cup. But I can understand some other first teamers not playing.
Yeah, forgetting last night. You are very opinionated on Twitter. I like it, and I agree with what you put out. What is the biggest thing for you with this GSBL? Because you do it a lot all day, every day, and what's really getting at your gripe to make you keep tweeting this?
It's just all the publicity. Did you see Mike Ashley going on TalkSport saying, it's just the publicity side of it. We're a joke. We're an absolute joke, and they just don't. If they come out, it's all lies anyway. It's different if you come out and tell the truth. Yeah, we've got, like, if they come out 3 years ago and said, no, do you know what, we fucked up, we're going to try and make a mistake. But it's just all bollocks.
If they come out now and said we've made, would you forgive them?
I wouldn't forgive them, no, but at least they'll come out and be honest.
Would you keep giving it? Would you give them another chance? Say, all right, prove us wrong. If
they chuck money at us, yeah. If they put the money where the mouth is. I'm not saying they're the perfect owners. No, I'm not saying they are.
If tomorrow they made a statement as owners of the football club, and Karen Brady included, we've made X, Y, Z amount of mistakes. We're now going to try and turn it round, starting from now, the next transfer window, whatever. Would you stop your GSB out tweets?
No.
I like that answer, because I don't think personally there's anything whatsoever now they could do to make me have any trust in them at the football club I support. Nothing. Mate, I don't care, and I've said this 100 times, I don't care if they go and buy players for 5 million quid or 55 million quid. Help your manager. If you care about what's at that club, help him out. Help that team. Yeah. And the only helping your manager helps the club and helps the team. If you really mean anything, help him. Help that man who needs players. Even if he ain't that good, but you've only got him. Help him with a small amount of money. Get him enough. Mate, if West Ham signed 11 players this transfer window for 11 million quid, I wouldn't care. It's not about a net spend that they keep boasting about. Nothing to do with that. The reason I moan about a net spend is because they're quick to throw in our face on what's been sent or what they've done and what they've spent. If you're going to do that, be real. Tell the truth. Don't sit here and say we've never taken a penny, but we've spent 100, 200 million quid. You have taken a penny. Be honest. If you're honest, you get a bit more credibility. They've got none. And there's nothing, mate. They could buy that ground tomorrow, knock it down and build it the shape of Upton Park. I do not want them 3 people's name attached to West Ham Football Club in my lifetime any longer. I've had enough. And I will not attend a game when they're at home, all the whilst they are in control of West Ham. They've got to me. They couldn't do anything now to make me change my mind, ever.
Yeah, and fair play to you, Baz, for not renewing. Like I said, I think if I was in a different seat, for example, if I was on the halfway and I was paying the £800 or £900, I wouldn't go. I'm in exactly the same seats as Frankie. You would never get that. And the way I see it is, I know 2023 is a long way away, but it's not, and it will be a struggle to get a season to get back if they go.
If West Ham is still in the Premier League in 2023, still in the Premier League, do you think they'll sell him?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do.
The only reason why they're waiting for this is the interest loans. Think they could get another two and a half years on interest loans or anything else that they want to do. They'll probably end up selling flipping more shit like the FA Cup or whatever it is. Thinking more money they got, more money. The more money they get, they'll be happy. Right. To be honest, if for a businessman, they're making as much money for their kids, and which you can't deny for, in my opinion. That's the reason why they're doing it. They're not doing it for the love of the game no more. I've been sitting there saying David Gold, it's not David Gold's fault, but I think it's because he doesn't have no say. And I could see him maybe not, if that's a part of it. I know it's all GSBR, but I remember you talking on the show, I could see him having 10%, for example. I don't think he'll sell with his, in my opinion, because I actually do think he is he's a fan, but he's not a fan, if that makes sense. I don't think he's as bad as what's up.
You're a fan of West Ham?
Yeah.
If you owned them and lent them money, would you charge the club interest?
No.
It's true.
Yeah, see, yeah. See, I'm going back on my words. I'm going back on my words. See,
if I was that rich and owned a football club, and I was lucky enough to own the football club I grew up supporting as a kid and had money issues, because they haven't got none at all. He hasn't sold that FA Cup because he's got issues. And let me just say, and I'll touch on this as well, him selling that FA Cup is irrelevant.
That's disgusting, though. Disgusting.
But that's irrelevant, mate. Hang on, that's irrelevant.
It's irrelevant to West Ham,
so
but it's a disgusting move.
That's his life. I don't care what he does in his life. I care what he does at West Ham and what he does to us.
The bigger problem I've got, Baz, isn't that he sold the FA Cup. The biggest problem that I've got is when he sold Upton Park, he sold off every bit of memorabilia that we had within that stadium. And that should have gone into a museum for all of us to see, for all of our kids to see, and for all of our kids to see in the future. It should never ever have sold all of that, and that will never come back again. That is all gone and will never be seen again by that club now. And that auction had some serious legendary stuff in that was a massive part of our history, and they sold it all off for a cheap penny, and he's just gone and sold that cup off in exactly the same way, and it's disgusting what they did with that.
So Andy, with what Frankie's just said, is he a fan?
No. That's what I want to hear. To be honest, Frank,
I fell for this. I fell for it. I fell on it all. Then you look into the bigger picture. Let me ask you another question. You're a fan of West Ham and you're a business partner with someone who together you've destroyed something, like they did with Birmingham City. Then you go and get another football club. Would you go into partnership with your partner at the club you support? No. Don't tell me he's a fan. Please don't try and convince me he's a fan of West Ham. He's a fan of money. That I respect. As business people, they have my utmost respect. Very, very clever. They know how to make money. And that's why I say 2023, I don't see them walking away. I really don't see it. Their plan, I don't know this, their plan from the start is to be handed on to the boys. Not David Gold's family, Sullivan's boys. That's the plan. Why would they walk away if West Ham are a Premier League club and all of a sudden worth 800 million quid with owning the ground if they own it? Why would they walk away? They're not walking. They walk away when that money stops. That money stops when they're not a Premier League side, when they're not selling season tickets, when they're not getting money through the club. That's when they leave. That was their plan, thinking we were getting relegated this summer. That's why I see the email I see. That's why the man who's gone quiet.
There's a message here, Baz, as well. Any more news on the takeover? Gone very quiet. We have just been given an update from someone on that, as while we've been live on air, and I'm working on if we can actually put it out or not and tell everyone what the current status of that is. It ain't that exciting, so I ain't going to sit here and say don't go to bed like the old West Ham days. But if we can say, we will update everyone before the end of the show.
Okay.
Yeah, Baz, I agree with everything what you say. In my head, I'm hoping he's a fan, to be honest. I agree. We were sold a dream, and in my head, for what he said, I don't believe David Sullivan's a fan. He can fuck right off. But like in my head, I'm thinking but like you said, how much say is he actually having? What you just
said there was really interesting. There was a poll on Twitter of who do you hate more, Gold, Sullivan, or Brady. It was split between Sullivan, Brady, and David Gold had 0%. Not one person thought that he was the bad man at that club.
Yeah, and I believe David Sullivan has all the power. In fact, we all know that. There's no doubt about it. He's not innocent. And that's the big difference. We can't forget. And again, you know, let me ask you a different question, Andy. And I'll tell you my answer before I answer the question. It's no. If David Sullivan and Karen Brady signed everything to David Gold tomorrow, would you be happy? I wouldn't. Not a chance. Not a cat
No,
in
I
hell.
wouldn't. No, I wouldn't.
And Andy, again, I'll be honest with you. There's nothing about them as people, mate. You know, people know I've done things and I have contacts at West Ham through doing the charity work I've done for Ireland. I will tell you now, both them men, David Sullivan and David Gold more than David Sullivan, were outstanding. Honestly, mate, fantastic. The opportunities they gave for me to raise money, whether it was giving things, allowing me to be places, getting shirts from players, whatever it may have been, the opportunities they gave me for that little girl to raise the money was incredible. And I will never in my life say a bad word about them personally. As owners of a football club and what they do for West Ham United, I will forever slag them off for. That's what they deserve, in my opinion. It doesn't make me right, it's just my opinion. They are nothing. They don't care about West Ham. If their bank balances were on zero, they'd care about West Ham wanting to do well. Their bank balances ain't. Their bank balances are going like that. They don't care what happens at West Ham all the while they're doing that. They'll soon care when West Ham are 19th with a game to go and 6 points behind the team 17th. They'll care then, and their care will be get out quick.
Yeah.
As the plan was this summer.
I can see Moyes leaving, but it won't be West Ham manager by the end of November.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
Moyes going by November.
And it'll be Eddie Howe. Cheap option.
I've said that for
okay.
a while.
Not that I've got an issue with Eddie Howe. I've not got. But it, like you said, it's a yes man sort of thing. It's whatever David Sullivan wants, he gets. That's my big. If we were in shit and Big Sam, you'd think Big Sam was. I'm sorry if it seems like I'm bringing up the past, but if you were in shit, who'd you go to? Yeah, Big Sam. But this time they wouldn't. Before they went back to Moyes, they wouldn't go back to it now. They're happy with 17th every year.
Yeah.
But that's who you go to. But they won't go to him now because of everything.
I think you know that. But I will say, as much as you say Eddie Howe's a yes man, when Pellegrini was sacked, he was a lot of people's men's choice. I wanted him at the time. I think Kent, who's still on it, Kent wanted him. A lot of people wanted him. Or I'm not saying everybody, and I'm not saying he was the right man. I thought he'd be a good move. No, Bournemouth went down. We didn't know this back then. But now all of a sudden he's a yes man. That don't fall for me. He's a man out of work who might want a job, like Frankie said before. I don't disagree with.
Yeah, no. When I mean by yes man is what we were saying about David Moyes. He's out of work at the minute. He'll do anything for some. I think he was waiting for a job. In my opinion, he was waiting for a job.
He'll be another cheap option. I'll give you that. He will be another cheap option.
David Moyes ain't got long left of options. Eddie Howe's still very young. That's a difference. David Moyes won't get a job in the Championship. Eddie Howe could probably go and get a job tomorrow. In fact, I think there's talk of Eddie Howe at Nottingham Forest now. I didn't hear David Moyes' name linked with anybody.
No one.
And that's the difference. And that's my opinion.
Andy, do you want to give us any summary, mate? What's your take on that Wolves game now, mate? Do you think we starting to get it right under that formation? Will we have half a chance? Will we go and compete now this season, or do you think it was a one-off fluke result?
It will only work against certain teams, and I think Leicester's the prime example where it will work because of the way they play. If you do that formation at like Fulham, obviously they got smashed again tonight. If we're that formation, we don't need to play the 5/3 centre backs against Fulham, but it's what selection you get right doing that team. So in my opinion, for example, the team against Fulham, you'd play 4-4-2, but you have Masuaku on the left mid, so it can convert back to that.
What would you play? 3-4-2.
No. So for Leicester, I'll play for the same team. But for Fulham, I'd play 4-4-2, but have Masuaku on the left. I
thought you said 3-4-2. I was going to say, what do you think when the other play? You're not going to play with 11.
We do.
Andy, thank you for coming on, mate. I do appreciate it.
Not bad.
No worries. Keep up the good work, mate. Take care. Speak to you later.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye.
Nice one. What's this info? You got any more you can tell us? This is interesting.
It ain't that interesting, mate, to be honest with you. It is just, hang on. Yeah, okay, so we have been allowed to say, they've said no issue. So from one of the sources that was involved in all of that, putting out information and blah, 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 that it would be an American consortium and there'll be a takeover bid within the next couple of weeks and it'll be in the news and everything else. I've called them out tonight, and I was calling them out from day one. You know I was, because I don't believe any of it, and I just can't see how a football club can be sold by the end of the year. For me, it's never ever going to happen, and when you're so far away on value, it just doesn't make any sense. So I was never buying into it, and this is what we were saying to people, weren't we, when we was online, and everyone on Twitter was, you know, knocking us a little bit, to be honest, and saying, what do we know? We were saying, well, we've seen an email that come out previously, and we think it's the same information that they're trying to latch onto now, and it's just a publicity stunt. So we've called them out tonight and said, look, what's going on? You said to us within 2 to 3 weeks, and my message was, fancy coming on the show tonight to let us know how the 2 to 3 weeks is going with regards to the takeover. Unfortunately, they said they can't come on, but they have said that there has been movement. However, it's not a significant enough move forward for it to be coming out as news at this point in time, because they don't think it's enough progression. However, if it does go that little bit more further and they do deem it to be, you know, a proper step forward, then they will start to tell us all what's going on. So they are saying that movement has happened, but it's just not moving as quickly as maybe they would have first thought, mate.
Well, time will tell, won't it?
It will, mate. And for me, I still don't think that this football club will change. What you said, 2023, I think there'll be potential for a change then, because the lease agreement on the London Stadium can change hands, and that makes it a very different prospect and a very different valuation at that point in time. But nothing will be happening until then. It just won't.
And you know what we've seen, and I've said it 100 times, and I strongly, what I see, I believe 100%. I believe, no reason for it to not be true. The reason I don't believe it now will happen, or I don't think it will happen now, or believe it'll happen now, is because we're still in the Premier League. And I don't believe, and I'll say this now, if West Ham are in the Premier League 2023-2024 season, that club will still be owned by Sullivan. If it's in their 24-25 season, it will still be owned by Sullivan, the name Sullivan. Until that football team, that club, drops out the top division, or for a long time, long time, or something happens to the family, and touch wood, it don't. I don't wish things like that on them. I don't think the ownership will change. It will only change when money changes, when it falls to shit. Nick, have you spoken?
I did ask him. No, I asked him to come on. Let's bring Joe in, because Joe's waiting. So let's bring Joe in, and then we'll go through last 10-15 minutes of talking about the takeover and how we think it will all pan out, mate. What's happening, Joe?
Joe? Are you there, mate?
How are we, boys? Are we all right?
There he is.
There he is.
Hello?
How are you? Joe, can you hear us?
Can anyone hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes, boys. How we doing?
Good, mate. You? Good, mate. You?
Yeah, I'm all good, thank you. Yeah, I can hear you.
Got a bad line, Frank.
I think he's got a delay.
Yeah.
Sorry, lads. It's just a bit laggy, but yeah, I'm all good.
Good man. What's your take on what Frankie's just said, really? Takeover.
It's well behind, mate. I'm going to ask him to come out and come back in.
Yeah. JC, just seen your comment, mate. Nice pink jerseys available on the store, 55 quid. I'm going to be honest now. I've not looked into it. I do know last year, because I bought one, that they're all them jerseys, all money that they were sold for was going to breast cancer. If that's the same this year, I think that's a great thing. I don't know the answer. If someone does, please tell me now. And if that's the case, it's a charity that I also support, and I will buy one of them myself, as long as the full money goes to breast cancer. I think it's a nice touch, Brian. Once again, I must be honest.
Yeah.
And do you know what? There's people at West Ham who do nice things. I don't get me wrong. There's a lot of bad people there, but there are also a lot of good people, which should be remembered. Good people within that club.
Yeah, and they're the ones you feel sorry for, mate, because
I do.
you know, and there are some proper West Ham people there and all, mate. You know, my comment earlier on about we need more West Ham in there, I do believe that, and I think we need more West Ham in proper places where, you know, especially with the ones that have direct contact with the fans, because I don't think there's enough of that. But there are some good people still there. On the steward side, we know a few of them who are still proper people, mate. And to be fair, they were missing at the beginning, weren't they? And then they got brought back in because they was having it so hard over there, and the stewards didn't know how to control the crowd. So, you know, there are some good people around that club still, mate. And I feel sorry for them. And can you imagine being a part of that club and seeing everything going on around it like it is at the moment, mate? It's horrible. And how frustrating would you be? Say you was a marketing, say you was a marketing executive there now, and they're putting out them silly posts that they do on and say that video that they done to launch the kit of that silly urban track and walking around Poxy, what is it, their Hackney Wick and all that. If I saw them trying to put that out and my manager was saying that was a good idea, mate, I couldn't have it.
No, I think you're right, mate. I do, and you know, we spoke to Leon, DJ Leon, the other week, and he was telling us about the amount of staff that got let go after the last night at Upton Park.
Mate, the picture that they posted talking about the Everton game, saying after the Wolves game, 2 days afterwards, they put out, right, now we're ready for the Cup. It was a picture of Jared Bowen, Arthur Masuaku, and Antonio. None of them were going to play. So what have they got to do with a cup game on Wednesday night? Nothing.
Oh, mate,
how stupid.
Sometimes I think things like that are done to try and deflect you away from team selection. I do think that, if I'm honest. So people don't think. So I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right. But then I don't think a lot's right. As I said at the very start of this, why that team wasn't the team that beat Wolves. Hull. I don't know. And again, you know, and I'm going to use this as an example. A lot of people are very, very quick to slag off Jack Wilshere for being injured. That man's not injured. Didn't even travel. Wasn't even on the bench.
And we're paying him $100,000 a week, and we felt it was a good idea to not include him in a cup squad when mate, none of those players even got brought on the pitch. What, you can't bring him on for half hour?
And again, let's put it right. You know, and I know, we're going to Leicester the weekend. He won't be starting. He probably won't even be on the bench. So
yeah, mate, you want him in the squad.
Mate, so why on earth did he not feature? There has to be bigger reasons. I don't know the answer. I'm not going to sit and pretend I do. I'll tell you what I do know is players do have in their contracts the amount of games they play for bonuses. I do know they get appearance bonuses. I can't tell you that's all for appearance bonuses last night. I'd be shocked if it was. I've said that in an argument, trying to save the 50 grand. But there's something. If you
That's what Adam's just said there. Wiltshire's been too open about how he feels, and that is probably the reason why he's not in the team. But how sad is that, mate? Do you know what? That's childish, because everyone's entitled to their opinion, mate. And he didn't really come out and cause a big stir. It's not like he's gone to the Daily Mail or something and done an interview with them against the board or something like that. It was a silly tweet on social media, which, let's be fair, our board, their children, everything else have put out a far worse on social media to put this club in disrepute than what Jack Wilshere tweeted. So the fact that you're now leaving him out for that reason is just wrong, mate. Just wrong.
It's filth. It is complete and utter filth. And these are, I don't know, mate. This is everything that's wrong, you know, and I'll forever stand it. You know, yes, he has been injury prone, 100%. But take away his injuries, he wouldn't be a West Ham player. He'd be playing at the top level still. He was that good, you know. And people used the comment, and it was used to me yesterday. Class is permanent. You don't become shit overnight because you've had an injury. That's the only thing I'll say. West Ham United women donate 100% of the net profit from the sale of every pink West Ham shirt to breast cancer. Taken for lovely, Kent. Thank you, mate. Really appreciate that. And that will be. If 100% goes to there, then I will buy one. That's the only thing I buy this year. Nick, you keep writing AFC West Ham boys. We're inviting you on. You're going to come on or not? Come on and give us your say. You come on every week. We want to hear you in voice, mate. Even if you don't have a video, be good.
Yeah, so obviously that's the situation, mate. That we've sort of touched upon the old the club rumours there. I think we've never believed in any of it. I do think that everyone says this Jack's being, primed and moulded to take over West Ham, and you think it's there to be handed down to him, mate. I've seen him run that women's football team, and it's laughable, mate. Not just because he's a young lad, but just because he's clueless, mate. He ain't got it about him to ever step up into the shoes to run a Premier League football club. And talk about where Premier League football is now. You've got to be a serious. I watched them other documentaries, Spurs, Leeds, Sunderland, all of that. Serious business people have to run football clubs now with massive amounts of experience who really get how the modern world is. And if you ain't got a proper team around you, of proper experienced people, you're going to be in an absolute bad place. He will never have enough knowledge or enough know-how to run. And you have to be like that now. Imagine where football's going to be in another 10 years' time, mate. Football's going to be a different world again. It's going to move on so fast.
Do you not see them? This is what they're thinking they're doing, grooming him into.
Mate, no, I don't. For me, it's always been, and has only ever been, need to get the rights to that stadium, the rights to the land, and then it is worth the £800 million they wanted. Everyone's always said their money's tied up in property. Well, West Ham's just another property that their money's tied up in. And if they can actually get it out and they can walk away with £800 million, mate, that gives them a huge cash injection, massive, of actual money in the bank. And I think that if someone at any point put that money up, I think they will bite their hand off, regardless of whether in the Premier League, even if at that point in time we somehow fluke it into the Champions League, mate, they will bite someone's hand off for that money. And that will be it. And I do think that will come when they get out the hold of the ownership of that stadium, and that's it.
Well, again, mate, I don't think it'll happen. Time will tell. Who's this guy who's trying to come on?
How do I join the call? Want to talk about Coufal? Yeah, he can come in. He's just got to email claretandbluearmytv@gmail.com and we'll send you a link, mate.
Yeah, come on. Coufal's passed his medical. I've lost that. Suchek's recommendation. And listen, I hope this guy turns out to be a good signing. I really do. I don't hope we buy anyone bad. And I don't care if it's only 6 million quid, even if it was 600 million quid, it's the same thing for me. We need backup, and the manager needs depth in his squad, and that's what the owners should be doing for him. The fact we're 4 days away, well, 3 days, because we've only got 2 hours left of this day, 3 days from the transfer window closing, it just tells me everything's a panic again. And you won't get what you want. You haven't got your targets. You've just got what's left. Whether it's a recommendation from a player or not, it's what's left. And that worries me.
Do you know what? This Coufal geezer, mate, for what he is, he looks like a runner. He looks like a trier, which is what you get with Souček. He's 28. It's a long way away from the Red Bull model that we all spoke about at the beginning of the window and thought we was going to do that. But by the way, I've been knocking that Ben Rama. He looked a bit warm tonight, mate. I saw some of the clips before we come on and watched some of that game, and the goal he scored was out of this world. I'm not saying that he was an answer for us, but he does look a decent player. But at the end of the day, mate, right now, like we said, we just need people in those positions. And if he is a 28-year-old, not on a lot of money, I'll take it, mate. It will do. Yeah, normally I'd be sitting there going, what the fuck is this? But actually, I'll take it.
Do you know what other real bad business we've done that we ain't spoke about? Is Ngakia.
Yeah, we know that. You don't need him if you've got Ngakia, do you? And he's probably a better prospect.
So when you sit and say, we've tried, we've done, with this, that and the other, rubbish. You've been forced to buy one tonight because Ryan Fredericks has been injured. If we had still had Ngakia, because we didn't discuss his personal contract to the whole world and trying to get him on a cheap because he's still young and inexperienced, as we've heard before with Declan Rice for so long, he'd still be a West Ham player. And you wouldn't be panicking now and having to go and buy him. You wouldn't be asking for your players to recommend someone. And honestly, right, this is nothing against anyone. The fuck are we doing listening to players recommending? Why is our scouts? Why have we not got scouts telling us who we should be signing? Why have we got to listen to a player's recommendation? It's bollocks. Complete and utter bollocks. That's how childish and pathetic it is. It's not a Premier League. I guarantee you, Jurgen Klopp don't talk to his team and say, hey, who should we sign, chaps? Bet you he don't. I'll put my life on it. Oh, you pick one this year, bruv.
Mate, with the lack of scouts we've got, that's Sullivan using his brain, and it's a great idea. We ain't got no scouts, so I might as well ask a few of the players if they know anyone. It's like when you used to be at school, mate, and you used to play Sunday League, and you'd go, oh, do you know any mates who want to come down and play for us? That's what it's like, and it's exactly spot on for what them sort of boys do.
It's just it's just ridiculous.
We've got the Slavia fan who's going to tell us all about our big new signing ready to join in, mate. Let's get him on.
Hey,
How
guys.
you doing, mate?
Yeah, pretty good. Still upset about us dropping out of the Champions League yesterday, but
Champions League? What have you been drinking?
yeah, we were like 15 minutes away from getting
Who was you
in.
playing?
The Danish champions.
Oh,
Midfield.
really?
Why
Yeah,
West Ham?
you were all
If you watch Champions League, why West Ham? You've got no hope with us, mate.
our goalkeeper saved the penalty, and VAR brought it back because he was like 10 millimeters off the line.
Oh.
Yeah.
And he didn't even go check the video. He was like, I trust VAR.
No,
But
good.
I've been watching all of West Ham's games, like since obviously our captain joined. And
Was you gutted when that happened? Was that bad business for you guys?
No, I mean, to be realistic, the transfer sum was like the second largest out of the Czech league ever.
Okay.
So like for us, it's a big signing. Obviously, we would have liked to have seen our captain stay, and especially with his performances in the Champions League last year. I mean, it was amazing. Like,
Did he not sign a new contract around August time for you or something like that?
yeah, but like, why do you think? I think it was all business. Yeah, I think it was all business because like him and Bozil, like his name is Coufal, so it's like imagine if it was like a Greek name with a TS, right?
Yeah.
Like if you were going to read it.
Yeah.
But after two like pillar players, Bozil, the left wing back, and Coufal, the right wing back, you know, like the two sides basically of our defense. And these guys run up and basically they're in the box all the time. Like the way our system works is, you know, you have 4 defenders or sometimes 3 defenders with these 2 guys who basically switch positions with the wingers. And on the offense, sometimes we have like 5 people going into the box. And like Bozil from his opposite position, like scored a goal against Barcelona last year. And this is like similar self-play. So I think for West Ham, I mean, when you're playing the diamond, when you're playing with like Souček, Rice in the middle, sort of helping out the defense, I think that's exactly what West Ham should be playing. Like send the defenders forward. Like the center is safe. If they lose it on their wing, if you have somebody like Bowen, he can retreat back.
Yeah.
Do you know what, Baz? It's really interesting. Not only has Souček now recommended a signing, it's clear where Moyes has got this new formation from now. He's our Souček. Souček's copied the Slavia way of playing.
Really?
He's told him what route to play, and he's now gone, go and get that right back. He fits in perfectly.
Is he more of a right back, or because we've just changed our formation to playing wing backs? Is he more a wing back or a right back?
I'm not sure with your British definitions of the positions, like right wing back.
Is he an attacking fullback, or can he defend as well, or is he always someone who's attacking?
Yeah, he's a very like Bozil is like the tough guy. This guy is also like he's calmed down a bit since like joining Slavia. When he was at Liberec, the previous team, like 2-3 years ago, he was like getting cards, and he was hard defender. But you know, in Slavia, he doesn't have to defend that much. So like all of the players have to support the offense, right? So, I mean, he's definitely not like gonna be focused 90% on defending, but he can defend quite well. Like, I mean, I
Okay.
wouldn't be worried. And especially since he runs almost as much as Souček. So like 12 kilometers in a game is absolutely normal. So I wouldn't be worried about him not tracking back or leaving. Like, I noticed against Wolves, Souček, like, I mean, obviously I'm watching him very closely, unlike you guys, but I mean, he had that header where he almost scored a goal, and then they were on the counter attack, and I don't think you would have noticed, but he was the guy, last defender on that counter attack. So this
he's engine, and he's been a great asset to the side, to be fair. And again, from what you see with him, and this isn't knocking him. He isn't a player that's going to set the world alight with skill and goals from 30 yards that some people like, but he's a grafter. And at West Ham, as fans, we don't ask for no more than passion and commitment and try your hardest. If you get that, I promise you will be loved by this fan base. If you turn up and not really care and not really try, sooner or later you become a bit of a boo boy. And we've got that now with someone like Felipe Anderson, who looks like his heart's not in it. He's getting a bit of the grief now, to be fair. But I promise you, we'll look after this fella if he comes and gives us heart and soul. And every fan of Claret and Blue will support him and cheer his name.
I think that's one thing you don't have to be worried about, like effort. Like these guys, the three guys that I talked about, I mean, if you can say one thing, it's just like they'll leave their soul out on the field. Like, you can tell even in the games where it's not going so well, you just will never give up. And I mean, that's why we like them. That's like our system these past couple of years has been on like outrunning. Like when Chelsea played us in the Champions League, the coach was like, what the hell? I mean, they ran 20 kilometers more than us. This is crazy. So, it's a lot about effort. Obviously, we would like to have amazing technical players, who are going to tackle two players and then score a goal. But it's not really feasible, especially when other teams defend with 10 defenders against us, like in our own league. So, I mean, as I said, I've been watching all of West Ham's games since Souček joined.
Respect.
And I really think it will help. I mean,
does he have some pace, or is he just an engine? Does he just run, or does he have pace to get past players?
It's not like Souček isn't really a fast player. Like he runs a lot, and he doesn't stop moving.
Hey, sorry, we ain't laughing at you. We're laughing at Mr. Macy's comment. I'm going to read it out because he's brilliant, and he's just put here, in Prague, take the pick. What else? Frankie's got out. One of them was about 50 and looked like Rod Stewart and wanted €100, I think. Told her bollocks. Bird in the alley down the road with no teeth and turn up for free. In class, you can always rely on Mr. Macy's comments. Thank you so much.
Like half of the British people that come to Prague go for stag parties.
Yeah.
I'm coming to see Rod Stewart in concert next month.
So we've got a good man, have we, for the money? Well, is it working out about £6 million? That ain't a lot of dough. So we've got ourselves a bit of a player for that, have we?
I think it's a good deal. I mean, like for us, it's still good money. For you guys, like I think a lot of the players that have been up for West Ham, like the prices are inflated. You cannot.
It's unlike us. We don't like playing. We like to have a bargain from everyone. So I'm surprised Sullivan's paying through the nose for these boys from you.
But can you honestly tell me that like the guys they're talking about now, like today, what's his name? I don't know. Like that they're better than Souček, and it's like 10 million more. Like come on. And this guy
Sullivan must have invested interest over there in one of them red light districts or something. He must be trying to ship some money over there, or lose a bit of dough, cash over that way.
He's getting another film made and a few porno mags.
Huh? Sorry, mate.
Yeah, I was just saying that these guys aren't even like international players. Like they're not playing for their national teams. They're not.
Yeah.
But sometimes you get more out of them players, and them players have got more to prove.
True.
And Frankie, with you in Sullivan having invested now, he's probably got another blue film coming out. And
Yeah, he probably has, mate. He
Joel's
probably has.
sending over all
Makes
these
sense.
masks and all that.
Is there anyone else that we should be sniping away from you, other than the left back? Because we need a left back and all. If Masuaku wouldn't have played well the other day, we could have been after him.
Yeah, that's what I said in my comments, like on a lot of these West Ham videos. Is okay. You took Souček, but he was gonna leave anyway.
Yeah,
it was just a matter of time. Okay, like now it's the right wing
we
back.
might end up like the Wolves of the Portuguese national team. We might be the Czech national team.
Yeah, like Wolves. Yeah. So
that might
yeah,
be what happens.
If you take Bojil from us, I think you'll have a revolution on your hands.
I'll tell you what I've got, mate. I have a signed Declan Rice programme from the England versus Czech Republic game when he made his debut. If you send me your address, I'll ship that out to you, mate, as a thank you for coming on the show tonight. So that's our little gift back to you as a way of thanks.
Well, it was a pleasure, and hopefully you guys will stay around like midfield.
Let's hope so, mate. Let's hope so.
No relegation battles this year.
Yeah, Baz hopes Mark Noble stays around midfield, but I'm not convinced. So we'll see.
I think the post-lockdown team really like had it. Even when you guys were like complaining, I was on all over the board saying, "Give it time." I mean, the core is good. 1 or 2 players, and you'll be be fine.
So when COVID sorts itself out, mate, and everything settles down, hopefully, and we can all go back to football again, mate, we'll also pay for you to come over and watch a West Ham game, and you'll come and see the stadium, and hopefully we can make you a proper West Ham boy.
Well, that's the problem. I mean, whenever I'm in the UK, it's always full. Like, you have to get somebody with a season ticket.
Yeah, we'll sort it out. It'll be all right. Baz has got connections. He's a connected man now, Baz. Super fan.
Wait, Baz has lost all his connections now. He's been too vocal.
The board.
Well, thank you very much for coming on, mate. I do really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being here, buddy. Stay safe.
Well, we're going to go from the new breed, mate, to the proper old school now. And we're going to have a chat with a gentleman who first went to his first game, age 7 in 71. He's been through it all. So let's welcome to the show, Barry. Good evening to you, sir.
Oh, good evening, guys. Let me get this.
Why'd you spell it with a Y? You ain't Welsh, yeah?
What with a Y? No. I was born in Barking Hospital. 1964.
Mind you, I'm saying you ain't Welsh. He's Welsh, isn't it? Same as me.
Yeah, you're Barry, aren't you?
With a Y. 1964. First went over West Ham in 70 or 71. Not 100% sure.
Yeah.
And they played West Brom, and remember it like yesterday. We were losing at half time. And then Pop Robson scored 1, and then Greavesy got the winner. And I remember that Bobby Moore was the captain. Remember it well. Stood on the old west side with my dad, took the little box there, and stood right at the front of the wall. And remember it like yesterday.
What's your best ever memory, Barry?
My best night at Upton Park was 1976 in the North Bank. Got there as the gates opened, and we played the Germans, Eintracht Frankfurt, in the semi-finals.
Mm-hmm.
And me and a friend of mine, Graham, we got right to the front of the North Bank behind the goal, and all the goals went in the South Bank in the second half. So we picked the wrong end that night.
My dad talks about that all the time, and if anyone in here has never seen that game, go on YouTube and have a watch, because that was proper West Ham that night.
Proper West Ham. It poured with rain. I nearly said something else.
You're right there.
I think it was Trevor Brookings' greatest night for West Ham.
Nice.
He was superb that night.
Do you go over there now? Do you tolerate the new ground?
Well, I actually live in Las Vegas now.
Oh, nice.
What a life that is.
I've been here since 2002, and I took my boys back last Christmas to the new stadium. We went to 2 games. Pellegrini's last game against Leicester, when we lost to Leicester reserves, 3-1, 4-1. And then with me and a couple of friends and the 2 boys, 14 and 15 at the time, and the news come out that the great Manuel Pellegrini had been fired. And there was a huge cheer went up in the pub in Upminster. And then we went a few days later to the Bournemouth game. David Moyes' first game, we won 4-0, I believe.
Yeah.
And that's the only 2 times I've been over there. And I'm hoping to come back this Christmas. But who knows with this quarantine nonsense, you know?
Yeah. What did you make of it over there? Did you enjoy the experience?
Yes and no, really. Wasn't the same. Not like the old days, but yeah, I enjoyed it because it was still West Ham, you know.
Yeah.
And it was for the boys' sake, but I got to say it wasn't nothing like I remember it, you know.
Was you at the do last year, John, when all the American Hammers got together in Vegas?
No, I didn't know about it.
Oh, really? Do you do Twitter?
No, I'm not on Twitter. I'm on Facebook, and I'm on a few websites now.
Look, I'll get a link sent to you. If you send us a DM, I'll send you a link. There's a guy called John who runs Las Vegas Hammers, and last August when we played Brighton, we had a big get together over in Vegas. I can't remember the name of the bar. I can't remember what it was.
There's only a couple of British ones. There's like the Crown and Anchor, or there's an Irish one, McMullen's.
I can't tell you. I'm gonna say I know. I'm gonna forget. I'm gonna lie. So I'm not gonna say what it was called. I think it began with B. Thinking about it.
Really?
Oh, that's your name, Baz.
No, mate. It's gonna annoy me now. I need someone from Vegas or America who was there. Anyway, all the different supporters groups from America got together. So like all the Denver Hammers come in, Florida XYZ. It was such a great event put on by Las Vegas Hammers. There's probably about 200, 300 people there. Jonathan Spector come along.
Oh, yeah.
And we had like ex-employee and Dave Walker from the West Ham Way. They were there and done a big Q&A with all the crowd and stuff. Keep an eye on it. It was really good. I was taken over, or I was brought over. Scott, who runs the Denver Hammers, invited me, paid for me to come over for the weekend. We had a great time. Some great people. And I've said before many times, we had a show with the American Hammers, funny enough. The commitment levels from the fans over in Vegas and America in general, who get up early to watch the games and being in the 3-4 in the morning, honestly incredible. And I'll take my hat off to you all.
Yeah. I mean, I still get up, watch all the games. I didn't even know there was a Las Vegas Hammers group.
There's a big group.
And I think a lot of them are British as well, weren't they? A lot of them are British people who've gone out there and that. It's good.
The other bar we had, which was a good one, it weren't where it was all at, but there was a West Ham bar, was the new Hard Rock Cafe.
Oh, that's on the strip, yeah.
Yeah, the new Hard Rock Cafe. So Blondie Sports Bar inside the
Planet Hollywood.
Yeah, inside there. Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, we had the event in there in the back room on the big stage, and as I say, we was on the balcony outside on the strip of the new Hard Rock Cafe bar. Made great time. They bought a cocktail out, the John Lyle cocktail. Fantastic. It was on carrot and blue. Great experience. Honestly, I'll send you a link. If you send us a DM on here,
we've got his email, mate. We've got his email, so we'll send it via that
to you. And I mean, every game they're all together when obviously the time's right and people can go in and all get together and watch games. Great times, honestly, great people as well.
So Barry, we saw you sent an email over, and you've gotten a few opinions on a few players, and it's not what. Not only has the experience changed at West Ham for me, but that attitude from the players has changed. Like even I weren't back in the day when times were good, but even I remember players like heart and soul players like your John Moncurs and your Julian Dixies, and even not your best players, but your Steve Potses of the world. They were still heart and soul, 100% commitment players. And my dad digs me out all the time at the moment because he always says these players like Anderson, that they're all just foreign journeymen who are just coming over and going through the motions. Is that one of our biggest problems we got right now?
Well, we had a lot of foreign players as well, but I mean, to me, that Anderson, he's just a bottle job to me, in my opinion. He's just collecting a wage. I mean, when I see that team the other night against Everton, and I see Anderson there, and I see Yarmolenko, and I see Lanzini, and I said to a couple of fellas I know, I said they got absolutely no chance. I mean, they're playing against 11 top first team players. I mean, it's like 11 against 9. I mean, you put the 3 of them in the team, and they're not 3 players. They're like 1.5 players, really, in my opinion. And none of them are committed. And like I said, I mean, that Pellegrini, he brought in Wiltshire, he brought in Yarmolenko, he brought in Carlos Sanchez. I mean, who else did he bring in? No wonder we haven't got any money, for God's sake. You know. And,
do you believe we ain't got money, Barry?
But look, I mean, what do you expect? I mean, you got Anderson on 100 grand a week. You got Wiltshire on 100 grand a week. That Sanchez, to me, was a Sunday morning player. He was on about 70 grand a week, and they had to pay off his contract a year early.
Yeah.
I mean, he brought in Haller, who's hardly not been given the best service, but now he wouldn't be in my first 11. No way would he be above Antonio. You know, and everyone's saying we need to buy more players, and they spent all the money on a load of crap, you know.
Do you have sympathy for the owners?
No, I'm not saying that, because they done a dirty on us, you know, and sold the ground. But
yeah,
they brought back what I was consider Pellegrini, who went to China for the money, was in retirement, really.
Yeah.
You know, it was a stupid move, in my opinion, to bring him back.
It was the wrong man to back with that amount of money, in my view.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. They were going to go with money, and they go and get him, for God's sake.
Yeah.
You know, if they were going to do that kind of deal, you know, they could have got a decent manager. So they were searching around to spend a bit of money on a manager, and they go and get that clown.
Yeah.
And then they give all that money for transfers and put them on ridiculous. I mean, what the hell? Who's going to give Wiltshire a 3-year contract on 100 grand a week, for God's sake?
That was mad business, that. And when he was coming in, there were actually people who were like, oh, yeah, but if he can keep himself fit. Well, that's the point, ain't it? It's a big if. You don't go and sign someone with his injury history, that sort of dough, every single week, and like you put them on a performance basis or a games per whatever. You don't give them 100 grand a week.
And I don't blame Wiltshire for taking it. I would have.
No, 100%. Bite his hand off. I bet he looked at it and thought, "I'll have some of that," and it was job done.
He's probably gone and got his accountant. Say, can you read this again? Is there something wrong? Am I reading this wrong? I'm reading this wrong. I'm still a bit drunk from last night. I must be reading this wrong, surely.
Yeah.
There's got to be something wrong there.
As much as I don't disagree with what you're saying, I think it does have an element, and I think the owners are scared because they've had their fingers burnt with things like that. Do you not think other clubs have done this and still moved on and carried on? You know, I use Everton, for example. They spent a lot of money with Silva and Koeman. They're not sitting here crying now and not backing their manager and saying, oh, I'm sorry, we're still paying the price from this. Now, this is what I don't get. And this is why it's so frustrating. So when people make comments, and I'm not calling you out, GSB, out on here, but you're putting now Moyes gets the hard time of his squad. Right. They chose Moyes. They chose him. We all. Right. And if anybody thinks David Moyes is ready to or a manager who will take West Ham to that next so-called level we was promised and spoke about, I think you're a little. I don't know what the right word is. I don't think you're quite
being honest with themselves, mate. Really?
Yeah, I think that. If they had now got, I'll be honest with you, if they had got, example, Pochettino, and it wasn't working, I'd sit here and say, all right, maybe he's dealing with that shit. However, we employed David Moyes. No one wanted him for 4 years, except for us twice. That's what I can't keep forgiving and saying, oh, but he's playing with what Pellegrini left us with. I don't get that.
Is Moyes the right man for you, Barry? Is he someone that you think we should be backing a little bit more?
He's only been back 8 months.
Yeah.
They're a hell of a lot better side than they were 8 months ago.
Yeah, I agree.
Vast improvement. What they come back after the shutdown, they played really well. Now, they played crap against Newcastle, which I think was a hangover from the Diangana game. They played all right against Arsenal. Now, who picked that team the other night? I don't know, but they played really well against Wolves.
What do you think, or where do you think West Ham will finish this season? If we have, as we are now, with David Moyes for a season, where do you think we'll go?
Well, I'm still hopeful that they will get rid of a few of these players and get a couple in. And I wouldn't be surprised if I could see them possibly finishing 14th or 15th.
Okay.
I think that's probably realistic, and it is quite decent to hear someone be a bit more, realistic about where we'd finish. Because I think some people still say we're a top 10 side. I don't think we're a top 10 side.
Because you've got to be realistic. I mean, with the Scarecrow who was there last year, Pellegrini, right? Now, he had all them players, and they was going nowhere fast, after that Leicester game. After we lost to Leicester reserves last Christmas, Now, they were going nowhere. Now, I've got to presume that Moyes bought Souček and Bowen, We've got to assume that,
Yeah.
I would think. Well, everyone's got to agree that they're good signings,
Yeah.
Well, that was in January. Now, come like the 20th of September or something, the team's a hell of a lot better than it was after the Leicester game, right?
Right.
Now, Dean Garner didn't play last season for West Ham, did he?
No.
Right, so he had a good season in the Championship, and he's played a couple of good games this year. Now, I'm saying just give Moyes a bit of a chance. I mean, let him buy a couple of players with this 30 million and hopefully get a bit of money from Anderson, Lanzini. Hopefully they'll get rid of them and see the light, and get another 15 million from them pair of idiots. And
Will you take 15 million for that pair?
I'd take anything for them, get them off the
Anything,
books, because when the contract ended, you ain't getting nothing anyway, and you're paying like 200 grand, 250 grand a week for them three, which are really just skeletons on the pitch from what I can see of them. You just pay ridiculous money for them each week.
I think it's personally, my opinion, I think it's difficult, and I don't blame solely David Moyes. I don't at all. I think he's a problem, part of it. I think the owners are the major problem. I don't think any manager would succeed under them, because I don't think they'll get enough back in. I don't think they'll get enough freedom. Yes, Pellegrini got back in, and that's why I don't think people will now. I do think Souček and Bowen have both been very good signings. I do. Am I 100% convinced they're both David Moyes signings? No, I'm not. And that's the truth. If I'm perfectly honest with you, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
Because David Moyes, let's make it right now, David Moyes gave his owners, or the owners of the football club, his list of targets. We knew that. We see them as all leaked. We didn't get any. Now, the owner of the football club is saying, we're waiting for David to finish his list. What list is that now then? The one that you want to add to? That's why I'm not so sure.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. And
I respect what you're saying. They are both great players and been great additions.
There's two things here and there. There's one, we should give them as a chance as fans, which I can understand people who want that view. But also the board need to do the same, and they need to let him go and sign the men that he wants. Because at the moment, I don't think they are. I think they're not backing him as a new manager, and I think that is because their lack of confidence in him. I think they had a lack of confidence in him when they let him go last time after he kept us up, and I think they're kind of doing the same again. He's got a few months to prove himself, and really they're not giving him the proper chance. I do think he had a list. I do think Matty Cash was on that list. I do think Eze was on that list. I do think Ben Rama was on that list. I think these players were targets that Moyes had gone in and said, I want those players. And I think the board have told him, you're not having them. And I don't think anyone that Moyes has walked in there with and asked for, they've given him. And I don't think they will.
And just before, sorry, Barry, jump in. GSB, you're right. They said about Bilic signing prior and he didn't. You bang on the money. David Sullivan said on TalkSport last week he couldn't sign a player behind his manager's back. It would cause a civil war. What did he do with Haksabanovic? I'm unsure. Remind me. Didn't he sign him? just so he could get an Arnautovic behind his manager's back. And the managers didn't even know when he turned up to training who he was, what he was. It's not all sweet and rosy, mate. It goes both ways for me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they want to spend a lot of money because I do think they want out of the club. And I will admit, I don't think they want to invest. I mean, I think they will. I think they will invest a bit of money that they can bring in from transfers. I don't think they want to go out and spend 60 million of their own money. I will agree there. But if they can bring in a bit of money in the sales, in the
do you think no one wants them though? Do you think we are trying to get rid of them, but no one's prepared to pay what they want for them?
I don't think anyone wants them. I think that is the case. I don't think anyone wants them.
Someone must want them at a cut deal, but do you think they're just not prepared to lose enough money on them? But I agree with you. All the time you're still paying them their wages and they're not playing, they're costing you even more money. So you're better off, taking your losses and letting them go.
Yeah, both. I don't think anyone wants them.
Yeah.
I think we're stuck with them. Anderson, Yarmolenko, Lanzini. I don't think anyone wants them.
No, I think you're right. I do think you're right. And again, listen, I'll say, I'm not telling you, I'm not sitting here saying now David Moore should be sacked. I'm not saying that. I praised him Saturday. I sung his praises. I put it out on social media everywhere. He deserved that. But he deserves his criticism as well, which he deserved from last night. That was so wrong. Do I think he's the right manager to take West Ham forward? No, I don't. Do I want him to be sacked tonight? No, I don't. Because I don't trust what owns us to bring anything else in that will be right and good for the football club. So it's probably a match made in heaven for him, the football club, and for the owners right now in the position we're in. Frankie, you're muted.
Yeah, mate.
But Barry, really, really do appreciate your time and make sure you stay safe out there. And
I appreciate you having me on. Yeah,
anytime.
Not at all. It's been brilliant, mate. Really appreciate getting a proper, West Ham old school person on here to talk about, the times that we don't remember, which is good, mate. We don't get enough of that. So thank you.
I was there at Wembley when we won the cup in 1980. I was 16 years old, and I didn't think I'd be sitting here in Las Vegas. And we've never won anything since. And
I was going to ask you that question. And do you think we will before any sort of, even in my time, do you think we've got any chance of doing anything? I don't think we have at the moment.
Yes, of course. You've got to be positive.
Yes, we will. Of course we will.
Positive.
We'll rise again one day.
We almost done it in 2006.
We did, mate. We did. I was there that day, so I missed my moment, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I wasn't there then. We'll do it. We'll do it. You've got to be positive.
Yeah, mate. You're right. 100%. Thank you very much, mate. Cheers.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot, guys.
Ta, mate.
Nice one.
Two really random ones at the end there, mate, but both were brilliant. The Czech guy come on was superb, and Barry was excellent as well, mate. Really, really good. And everyone in the comments really appreciated them coming on and said they were, really good guests. And I think everyone was agreeing with a lot of what they had to say. So it was, really, really good, mate.
Yeah, bang on, mate. I've really enjoyed tonight. It's been good talk, good input from people, good chat, and again, it's all well and good people coming on and talking to us and us giving our opinions, but it's great to have the comments and being able to read them out and listening and reading what other people say. Don't be shy. Come on, talk to us. We don't bite, even if you want to ride yourself. I love hearing other people's opinions. We've said it 100 times, mate. Just because we say out on here, don't make us right and everyone else wrong. Come and join us. Get on the platform. It's for everybody. We're all West Ham fans. We all want the same thing and the best thing for the football club. Come and tell us what you think. Anytime. We do this phone in every single week at 8 o'clock. You're welcome on any time. We will do something before and after the game the weekend. And let's hope we get a positive result come Sunday against Leicester. And it's a continuation from Wolves, really, and not from last night.
Bloodless is a new favourite, mate. Everyone's loving him. He was class, and even Barry. Everyone's saying he was fantastic. So no, it's nice, mate. It's nice when people at random jump in and like you say, try and have a bit of a say. And mate, you're right. It isn't just us, mate. We ain't sitting here as experts or people who know better than anyone else. We only come on here and voice our opinions and try and have a chat with everyone. And the more that people jump in and have their say as well, and you know what it's like, mate. Even last night, do you know what? We didn't do anything last night because I didn't think it was right to be honest. But how much better do you feel after a game like that, when we come on here and you get it off your chest, it makes you feel so much better. And if anyone ever wants to come on and rant about after a game, or, you know, just try and get something off that's been bothering them, mate,
We'll set it up for you. You know, you're a fan. Come and tell us. You can take over for the night. We'll sit back and watch you.
Yeah, mate.
Nice one. Anyway, thank you to you all. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for your comments, your likes, XYZ. Please make sure you hit that share, like, subscribe button. Spread the word. Get them over at Claret Blue Army TV, because there's a few channels trying to copy what we do now. Phone in. I've sent you a DM or a tweet tonight. Send me a DM and we can talk. Nice one, all. Thank you very much. Frankie, top man, well done again, buddy. And we will be back Saturday for a preview.
Yeah,
for
we'll be back Saturday, mate. Yeah.
Nice one.
I'm forever blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles in